The nature of dreams. What do they really mean? Imagine for a moment that you awaken from a vivid dream, one where you soared above a painted landscape of vibrant colors, witnessing a symphony of emotions, fears, and desires unravel before you. In the tranquility of the morning, the dream lingers, tugging at your mind like an echo in a vast canyon. You might wonder, what do these dreams mean? Are they mere reflections of our waking lives, or do they carry deeper truths about our subconscious selves? The nature of dreams has long intrigued philosophers, psychologists, and poets alike. Plato, in his work, The Republic, suggests that dreams can be messages from the divine or manifestations of our innermost thoughts, as elusive as shadows dancing on the walls of a cave. The exploration of dreams can lead us to profound philosophical inquiries about reality, perception, and self-awareness. Is a dream a gateway to understanding our hidden selves, or merely a chaotic whirlpool of unfiltered experiences from our daily lives? Freud famously argued that dreams are the royal road to the unconscious, revealing our repressed desires and unresolved conflicts. To Freud, the imagery in dreams could illuminate our waking lives, unearthing that which we might prefer to ignore. In contrast, Carl Jung viewed dreams as a natural overflow of the psyche, a bridge to integrate our conscious selves with the deeper layers of our being, full of archetypes and shared human experiences. This invitation to self-exploration implies that dreams might not just be the reflections of personal narratives, but also resonate with universal themes. Yet, in contemporary life, as we navigate the complexities of existence, rising with the sun and diving into our responsibilities, dreams often slip through our fingers, dismissed as fleeting distractions. How often do we allow ourselves time to ponder their deeper meanings? In modern society, dreaming can mirror our collective anxieties, climate change, economic uncertainty, and social strife, becoming a canvas where our collective subconscious grapples with the tumult of our waking reality. Dreams can serve as a refuge, offering a sanctuary from our stressors or a means of confronting the chaos that surrounds us. As we delve deeper, consider the existential questions arising from dreams. Are our dreams a semblance of reality, or do they reveal a world beyond it? The philosopher René Descartes pondered the nature of reality, famously questioning how we can discern dreams from waking life. His skepticism beckons us to explore the very fabric of existence itself, urging us to examine the boundaries between what is real and what is perceived. Thus, in our dreams, could we find an unexpected connection to our existence, a whisper of truth in the mystery of being? Ultimately, by embracing the nature of our dreams, we find ourselves engaged in a dance of reflection, a meditation on our desires, fears, and hopes. Perhaps the wisdom lies not in seeking definitive answers, but in recognizing that each dream, vivid or elusive, offers us a moment to explore the intricate tapestry of our inner worlds. As you close your eyes tonight, allow yourself to drift into the night's embrace where questions await. In the quiet spaces between sleep and wakefulness, may you continue to wonder, what do my dreams reveal about me, and what truths lie beyond the veil of sleep? The concept of time, is it an illusion? Imagine standing at the edge of a tranquil lake at dawn. The surface reflects the colors of a rising sun, the cool morning air brushing against your skin. As you gaze into the still water, you may wonder, if time is a river flowing steadily onward, what happens if we pause to consider that it might not flow at all? What if, instead, it exists as an illusion, a construct of the mind? This serene moment invites us to explore the nature of time. Is it a fundamental aspect of reality, or merely a perception woven by human consciousness? Philosophers have grappled with the enigma of time for millennia. The ancient Greeks proposed contrasting views. Heraclitus likened time to ever-flowing waves, while Parmenides asserted that change is an illusion, and thus so is time. Fast forward to the modern era, and thinkers like Immanuel Kant argued that time is not an external entity. Rather, it is a lens through which humans interpret experience. In Kant's view, time structures our understanding but does not exist independently of us. Yet, if time is merely a construct, what does that mean for our lives, our relationships, our memories? The physicist Albert Einstein's theory of relativity fundamentally altered our understanding of time. Rather than being absolute, time became intertwined with space, bending and warping in the presence of mass. In this view, our perceived past and future might not be as fixed as we believe. Could it be that, just like our interpretation of colors, our understanding of time is subjective, a spectrum shaped by our consciousness? Consider how this impacts our daily reality. We wake, eat breakfast, engage in work, and eventually find ourselves falling asleep, a rhythm dictated by clocks and appointments. Yet, how often do we find ourselves dwelling on the past or anxiously anticipating the future? In doing so, might we overlook the richness of the present moment? The ancient Zen masters taught mindfulness, urging individuals to immerse themselves fully in the now. This perspective invites a profound paradox. In a world where time may not exist in the way we think, how can we let go of our fixation on it? Even in contemporary life, the dilemmas surrounding time remain relevant. The rapid pace of modern existence, marked by deadlines and digital notifications, often serves to heighten our perception of time slipping away. Yet paradoxically, in moments of deep connection, be it with nature, loved ones, or art, time seems to dissolve. Memories can become vivid, expanding and contracting in ways that defy chronology. Even as we explore these dimensions, we encounter contrasting views. Alleged eternalists assert that all points in time, past, present, and future, are equally real, suggesting that time as we perceive it is an illusion. Yet presentism, another philosophical stance, posits that only the present moment is real, and the past and future do not exist independently. As we navigate life, which perspective resonates more profoundly within us? In the quietude of contemplation, the nature of time remains unresolved. It may be an illusion, an intricate tapestry spun from human consciousness, or a genuine feature of the cosmos, fundamental yet slippery. As you reflect on your own experiences, consider how the lens of time shapes your understanding of self and existence. Is it freeing to think of time as an illusion, or does that notion bring uncertainty? Allow these questions to linger gently in your mind, inviting you to continue your exploration of this profound and ineffable concept. Choices and consequences. Are we really free? Imagine standing at a crossroads. Before you lie two paths. One leads to a life of comfort and security, while the other may be rife with challenges and uncertainties. As you consider your options, a thought arises. Are you genuinely free to choose, or are the circumstances of your life dictating your decision? This contemplation leads us into the heart of a profound philosophical dilemma, the nature of free will. The question of whether we are truly free in our choices has occupied thinkers for centuries. At one end of the spectrum is the school of determinism, famously advocated by philosophers like Baruch Spinoza and later Pierre-Simon Laplace, who believed that every event and decision is the inevitable result of preceding events, governed by natural laws. If this is true, then free will becomes an illusion. Our thoughts, desires, and choices would merely be the outcome of prior states, leaving little room for authentic agency. If we were to follow a deterministic view, the idea of personal responsibility becomes fraught with complications. If I am only a product of my environment, genetics, and past experiences, to what extent can I claim credit for my actions? In contrast, proponents of libertarian free will, like Jean-Paul Sartre, argue that we possess the ability to make choices independent of external influences. Sartre famously stated, "Existence precedes essence," suggesting that we define ourselves through our actions, fully responsible for the consequences of our choices. From this perspective, life is a canvas upon which we can paint whatever we desire, instilling a sense of empowering autonomy. Yet, this notion can be overwhelming. With complete freedom comes the weight of accountability, and the fear of making the wrong choice looms large. Then there's the compatibilist view, a middle ground held by philosophers such as David Hume and more recently Daniel Dennett. Compatibilists argue that free will and determinism are not mutually exclusive. According to them, we can define a form of free will that exists even within a deterministic framework, where our choices are influenced by our motivations and desires, yet still feel authentically ours. This perspective acknowledges that while our environments and biology shape us, they do not completely dictate our agency. In modern society, this philosophical dilemma resonates deeply. Consider the growing discourse surrounding mental health, addiction, and societal inequalities. When someone struggles with addiction, are they making a free choice, or is their brain chemistry playing an unforgiving role? When individuals face systemic barriers, are their choices genuinely theirs? This reflects a certain urgency in understanding our own decision-making, imbued with compassion and consciousness. As you ponder your own choices today, consider the complexity of your circumstances. Perhaps the desire for comfort nudges you towards familiar paths, while the ambition for growth whispers against it. Is this tension a limitation, or is it precisely what it means to be human, navigating the currents of freedom and determinism? These reflections lead us to an open-ended question. Are we free in our choices, or are we merely the sum of our experiences and influences? In the quiet spaces between our decisions, perhaps we can find solace. While we may never fully resolve this dilemma, the act of wrestling with the question of our freedom may be, in itself, a profound expression of what it means to be alive. The paradox of happiness. What does it mean to be happy? Imagine a young woman standing at the edge of a breathtaking cliff, overlooking a vast expanse of shimmering ocean. As she inhales the salty breeze, she cannot help but feel a rush of joy. Yet moments later, a thought crosses her mind. Is this happiness, or merely a fleeting moment of pleasure? In that instant, she grapples with the ancient and profound question of what it truly means to be happy. The search for happiness has perplexed philosophers for centuries, leading us to a landscape filled with contrasting ideas. Is happiness a state of being, a fleeting emotion, or a result of external circumstances? Many reflections on happiness start with the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle, who suggested that true happiness, or eudaimonia, arises from living a life of rational virtue. For Aristotle, happiness is not a transient feeling, but the fulfillment found in living in accordance with our highest nature, engaging in meaningful activities, and forming virtuous relationships. Yet the modern world seems to offer a different narrative. Our society often equates happiness with material success, career achievements, and social validation. Psychologist and philosopher Alain de Botton warns us of the pleasure paradox, observing that as we chase after pleasure and external achievements, we often find ourselves more empty and dissatisfied. The relentless pursuit can lead to a void where genuine happiness ought to dwell, raising questions about the very nature of fulfillment. Contrast this with the Stoics, who posit that happiness is a matter of control. They teach that true contentment comes from within. It is achieved by focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, attitudes, and responses, rather than on external events. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously asserted that it is not the events of life that disturb us, but our judgments about those events. This invites us to reflect deeply. If our understanding of happiness relies too heavily on external conditions, will we ever find true peace? In today's world, the paradox intensifies. Social media inundates us with curated images of joy, compelling us toward comparisons that foster dissatisfaction. We witness others' highlight reels and often feel our reality pales in comparison. The question lingers: is happiness an authentic feeling that can be experienced amid life's inevitable struggles, or is it an elusive ideal perpetuated by constant comparison? Additionally, consider the concept of hedonic adaptation, the notion that we quickly return to baseline levels of happiness after changes in our circumstances. This notion suggests that whether we achieve our dreams or experience setbacks, our happiness may not change as much as we hope. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche cautions against this pursuit of pleasure, proposing instead that we embrace suffering and struggle as integral parts of a meaningful life. Perhaps, then, happiness is interwoven with hardship, not separate from it. So as our narrative comes to a close, we find ourselves at the edge of the cliff alongside the young woman, contemplating her question. Happiness may not be a destination but a journey, a tapestry woven from our experiences, both joyous and painful. In the stillness of our minds, we are invited to ponder, what does it mean to you to be truly happy? Is it a momentary spark of joy, or is it something deeper that transcends fleeting satisfaction? The answers, perhaps, lie within your own reflections, waiting patiently for you to explore. The power of memory. How do our past experiences shape us? Imagine walking through a forest, the sun filtering through the leaves, each step accompanied by the soft crunch of twigs beneath your shoes. Suddenly, a familiar scent wafts through the air, a mix of damp earth and blooming wildflowers. Instantly, you are transported to a time long past, perhaps a childhood picnic with laughter and sunshine, or a quiet moment shared with a loved one now gone. Memory has a profound power, doesn't it? It can evoke joy, sorrow, nostalgia, and even shape who we are today. But how do these recollections influence our identities, our beliefs, and our decisions? This is the philosophical question of memory, how our past experiences shape us as individuals. The philosopher John Locke famously suggested that personal identity is tied to consciousness, particularly to the memories that inform our sense of self. According to Locke, we are each a culmination of our experiences, and our memories provide continuity to our identities over time. Yet, if our memories are the fundamental building blocks of who we are, what happens when they fade, become distorted, or are entirely fabricated? Contrast this with the philosopher David Hume, who proposed that our identities are more fluid, composed largely of perceptions rather than fixed memories. Hume argued that we cannot fully rely on memory as a definitive source of selfhood. Rather, he saw the self as a collection of experiences that are constantly in flux. This perspective raises unsettling questions. If our memories can be unreliable, can we trust that our recollections accurately define us? Are we merely the sum of our recollections, or is there something deeper at play, a core essence unmarked by time and experience? In the modern world, the implications of memory extend far beyond philosophical musings. The realm of psychology, particularly studies on trauma and memory, reveals the complexities tied to our lived experiences. Traumatic events can leave indelible scars, shaping a person's responses and outlook long after the original event has passed. Memory sits at the heart of this healing, or, alternatively, the sense of being stuck in the past. For example, a soldier returning from war may struggle with PTSD, where memories of conflict intrude on everyday life. How do those haunting memories reframe one's identity, rendering them forever altered? Furthermore, the digital age contributes layers of complexity to how we understand memory. Social media creates a curated, often idealized version of life, distorting genuine experience and memory. In this context, the way we remember events might become less about lived experience and more about how those moments are shared, perceived, and reshaped through online platforms. How does this transformation influence our understanding of ourselves and our relationships with others? Ultimately, memory is more than a mere repository of experiences. It is a dynamic storyteller that weaves into the very fabric of our identity. As we reflect on the power of memory, we are invited to consider our own narratives. Do they empower us, hinder us, or perhaps both? Our past experiences undoubtedly shape our present selves, but to what extent are we capable of reshaping our futures? In pondering these questions, we step into an authentic exploration of our existence, where each memory holds the potential for deeper understanding. As we move forward, let us remain open to the transient beauty of memory, aware that the stories it tells are both a gift and a canvas, waiting for our brushstrokes of consciousness and choice. The myth of normalcy. What does it mean to be normal? Imagine walking into a bustling cafe, where laughter and conversation fill the air. You see groups of friends chatting animatedly, couples sharing quiet moments, and strangers engrossed in their own thoughts. Yet in the midst of this lively scene, you find yourself feeling out of place, as if there were an unspoken rule about how to fit in, a standard of normal that's just beyond your grasp. What does it truly mean to be normal? What if everything we consider normal is merely an illusion, a construct we create to make sense of the chaos of existence? The notion of normalcy is a labyrinth of social expectations, cultural norms, and personal experiences. Philosophers like Michel Foucault explored how societal definitions govern our understanding of normality. He argued that norms are not inherently natural. Rather, they are constructed through discourse and power structures that shape what is deemed acceptable. This raises a critical question. Is normalcy simply a reflection of consensus, or does it have a deeper, more intrinsic value? Contrasts in philosophical beliefs invite us to ponder further. In the realm of existentialism, figures like Jean-Paul Sartre emphasized individual freedom and choice, suggesting that we are inherently responsible for defining our own existence. From this perspective, the pursuit of normalcy could be seen as a retreat from authentic selfhood. By seeking to fit into predefined molds, we may stifle our own unique expressions and desires. Sartre might argue that rejecting societal definitions of normal allows us to embrace the profound richness of our individuality. Yet normalcy can also serve a pragmatic purpose. The social psychologist Irving Goffman posited that individuals navigate their identities through a performance of social roles, often adhering to societal expectations to avoid stigmatization. Our inclination towards normalcy may be rooted in a fundamental desire for connection and belonging, a survival mechanism that facilitates social cohesion. But does conforming to these standards truly foster meaningful connections, or does it merely produce a superficial sense of belonging? In the modern world, we witness the tensions surrounding normalcy unravel in fascinating ways. Consider the rise of social media, platforms where curated lives promote an ideal of normalcy that many strive to emulate. The impact is multifaceted. While it fosters community among those who share similar experiences, it can also exacerbate feelings of inadequacy in those who feel they do not measure up. The pressure to conform to a crafted image of normality can exacerbate issues of mental health, leading to anxiety and disconnection. In the midst of these swirling thoughts, we are left to ponder: is normalcy a prison that confines us within rigid parameters, or is it a shared ground upon which we can build understanding and empathy? The personal yet collective nature of normalcy invites each of us to define what it means in our own lives. We may find solace in the acceptance of our idiosyncrasies, challenging the very structures that seek to define us. As we reflect on the myth of normalcy, we are drawn into a deeper exploration of authenticity, belonging, and the human experience. How do we, as individuals and as a society, navigate the delicate balance between conforming to established norms and embracing our unique identities? The journey is ongoing, filled with opportunities for contemplation and growth. Perhaps the path to understanding normalcy lies not in the quest for a definitive answer, but in the richness of questions that linger in our hearts and minds. What does it mean to truly be ourselves in a world that often demands conformity? The answer may be found within us, waiting to be discovered. Reality versus perception. How do we know what's real? Imagine waking from a vivid dream, a world where gravity feels fluid, colors boast a brilliance that defies explanation, and time seems to fold in on itself. As you step into the waking world, you may wonder, what was real and what was mere illusion? This question resonates deeply, challenging our daily navigation through experiences and perceptions. In a time when social media curates our views of reality, this inquiry becomes ever more pressing. How can we discern what is authentic in a landscape so heavily shaped by personal filters and collective narratives? Philosophers have long grappled with the divide between reality and perception. René Descartes famously pondered this dilemma, famously asking, "How do I know I am not dreaming?" His meditations introduced the notion of radical skepticism, whereby even the most basic aspects of existence might be called into question. If our senses can deceive us, as they often do in dreams or mirages, how can we affirm the existence of an objective reality? In contrast, the empirical approach championed by thinkers like John Locke suggests that our senses are the gateways to understanding reality. Locke posited that knowledge arises from experience, asserting that the external world is knowable through observation and reason. Yet, even this perspective faces challenges. The advent of virtual reality and digital experiences blurs the lines between what feels real and what is artificially constructed. If a digital environment can evoke genuine emotions and reactions, does it hold a place in our understanding of reality? Further complicating this inquiry is Immanuel Kant, who contended that we cannot know the thing in itself, the true essence of reality, but only how it appears to us through our senses and cognitive frameworks. This introduces a subjective veil over our experiences, implying that each person might construct distinct versions of reality based on their perceptions. In today's world, where differing narratives abound, this philosophy resonates profoundly. How many realities coexist, each shaped by personal biases, cultures, and experiences? Consider the implications of this interplay in contemporary contexts. The spread of misinformation and fake news exemplifies how varying perceptions can create parallel realities. Individuals often align with viewpoints that resonate with their personal experiences, cultivating echo chambers where divergent perspectives are dismissed. This polarization not only affects personal relationships but influences societal dialogues and democratic processes. Yet, amidst this complexity, the question remains, how do we approach the truth? Is it found through consensus, empirical evidence, or an empathetic exchange of stories? The journey to understanding reality could involve a combination of all these elements, a tapestry woven from threads of various experiences and insights. Perhaps it is in the interplay between subjective perception and shared understanding that a fuller picture of reality emerges. As we reflect on the nature of reality and perception, we invite ourselves to consider, is reality an unchanging backdrop, or is it a fluid construct shaped by our collective and individual stories? The exploration of this philosophical conundrum leads to more questions than answers, urging us to remain open to the nuances of our existence. In a world rich with diverse perspectives, the search for truth is not just a quest for facts, but a path toward deeper understanding and connection. In the end, what we perceive may not simply reflect reality. It may illuminate the vast spectrum of what it means to be human. The search for meaning. Do we create our own purpose? Imagine standing on a vast cliff overlooking the ocean, the waves crashing rhythmically against the rocks below, each one a reminder of the passage of time. You gaze into the horizon, contemplating your place in the world. What is your purpose? Why are you here? In moments like these, many of us find ourselves grappling with the profound question of meaning. Are we the architects of our own purpose, or is it something bestowed upon us? This dilemma has sparked countless philosophical conversations throughout history. Existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre argued that existence precedes essence, suggesting that we come into the world as a blank slate, free to define ourselves. According to Sartre, we are condemned to be free, bearing the weight of our choices and the meaning we create from them. This perspective invites us to embrace the idea that we are responsible for crafting our own destinies, finding meaning even in a chaotic universe. In contrast, the views of thinkers like Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, add depth to this exploration. Frankl emphasized that even in the darkest of circumstances, individuals can find purpose through suffering, love, and choices. He believed that meaning is not merely created but discovered, a revelation that leads us to transcend our circumstances. For Frankl, purpose could be found in relationships, in striving for a cause, and in the way we respond to unavoidable suffering. His insights remind us that while we may forge our paths, meaning often finds us, revealing itself in our experiences and interactions. In modern society, this search for meaning continues to manifest in myriad ways. We chase careers, seek love, and engage in passions, often looking to external validation to fill the void. Social media and popular culture can amplify feelings of inadequacy, suggesting that others have already discovered meaningful lives while ours remains unfulfilled. Yet these comparisons prompt us to ask, what does it mean to lead a meaningful life? Is it defined by societal accolades or personal fulfillment? Moreover, in our fast-paced world, the pressure to find purpose can become overwhelming. With the increase in mental health challenges, many individuals grapple with feelings of emptiness or chaos. Here, the philosophical inquiry takes on a pressing urgency. Are we lost because we lack a predefined purpose, or is the quest itself integral to the human experience? Perhaps the act of searching, rather than the attainment of an answer, is where true meaning lies. As we consider these perspectives, we realize that the dialogue surrounding purpose is both personal and collective. We find ourselves in a tapestry woven from the threads of various beliefs, cultural narratives, and individual stories. Like a stone cast into water, each of us creates ripples that affect those around us, suggesting that meaning is not merely a solitary quest but a shared journey. In closing, we are left at the edge of the cliff, gazing into the endless ocean before us. As we ponder our own unique paths, we must ask, if meaning can be both created and discovered, what role do we wish to play in the unfolding narrative of our lives? The journey for purpose is as profound as the answer itself, with each moment a chance to explore, reflect, and redefine what it is to truly live. So as you step away from this contemplation, carry these thoughts with you and allow them to guide you on your own search for meaning, one that is uniquely your own, and always evolving. Connectivity in a digital age. Are we more alone together? Imagine a crowded cafe where laughter and conversation echo through the air, yet each individual is absorbed in their glowing screens. Friends sit side by side, but they share more words with absent contacts than with each other. In this increasingly digital landscape, a question quietly arises. Are we more connected or more isolated in our connectivity? This paradox lies at the heart of our relationship with technology in the modern age. As we navigate through the complexities of social media, instant messaging, and online communities, the philosophical implications of our connectedness beckon deeper reflection. Some argue that platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram foster relationships and allow us to bridge distances, reaching friends and family with ease. Notable thinkers such as Marshall McLuhan posited that the medium is the message, suggesting that our dependence on these technologies profoundly shapes how we communicate and relate to one another. In a way, we have created a vast digital tapestry that connects millions and allows for unprecedented sharing of ideas and experiences. Yet, intertwined with this connectivity is an undercurrent of isolation. Philosophers like Søren Kierkegaard emphasize the importance of authentic relationships, suggesting that the depth of our interactions defines our humanity. In contrast, the digital world often promotes surface-level connections that can leave us feeling more alone than ever. A multitude of followers does not equate to meaningful interactions. As the poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, we must cultivate a few deep and lasting relationships to feel truly fulfilled. This reality prompts us to contemplate modern dilemmas surrounding identity and community. Online, we can curate an idealized version of ourselves, often leading to feelings of inadequacy when comparing our lives to others. This curated existence, while connecting us to a global audience, can isolate us from being truly seen. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre famously stated, "Hell is other people," perhaps suggesting that our perception of how others see us can become a source of profound discomfort. Are we trapped in an echo chamber of our own design, where the noise overshadows the nuances of genuine connection? The effects of these digital engagements extend beyond personal feelings of alienation, impacting our communities and societies. In moments of crisis, the digital sphere can unite people around a common cause, engaging millions in advocacy. Yet, it can also segregate individuals into fragmented bubbles of belief, where opposing views are met not with dialogue, but hostility. This phenomenon recalls the work of Hannah Arendt, who studied how collective action can lead to both empowerment and estrangement. A dual-edged sword cuts both ways. As we parse through these layers of connectivity, we are left with an open-ended question. Can the digital networks we inhabit genuinely satisfy our innate yearning for human connection? Perhaps the path forward lies not in renouncing technology, but in striving for a balance, a conscious effort to foster authentic connections alongside our digital lives. It invites us to reflect on our individual practices in this connectivity, guiding us toward a more mindful engagement with both the virtual and the real. Ultimately, we find ourselves at a crossroads. Are we weaving a web of connection or constructing an impenetrable fortress of solitude? The answers reside within our daily choices and interactions, inviting you, dear listener, to contemplate your own journey through this digital age. How will you navigate the currents of connection, and in what ways can you nurture the threads of genuine companionship amidst the noise? Identity. Who are we beyond our labels? Imagine standing in a crowded room, surrounded by friends and strangers alike. You hear snippets of conversation. Someone identifies passionately as a trans activist, another as a loyal parent, and yet another as a corporate entrepreneur. As you take in these labels, a familiar question arises. Are these identities who we truly are, or merely masks we wear for the world? At the heart of this inquiry lies a profound philosophical dilemma about identity. Are we defined by our roles, our professions, or our social affiliations, or is there a deeper essence that transcends these labels? The existentialists, like Jean-Paul Sartre, argued that existence precedes essence. In this view, we are continually crafting our identities through our choices, rather than being bound by predetermined labels. For Sartre, the notion that we are confined to societal roles is a limitation we impose upon ourselves, suggesting that the authentic self emerges when we embrace our freedom to define who we are. Contrastingly, the philosopher Simone de Beauvoir explored how external forces shape identity, particularly through the lens of gender. In her landmark work, The Second Sex, she examines how society constructs gender identities, often limiting self-perception and freedom. Is our identity the negotiation between external labels and our internal sense of self? Perhaps it is through this interplay that we grasp the complexity of who we are. From a modern perspective, the exploration of identity stretches into the spheres of technology and social media. Platforms enable us to curate our identities, presenting chosen versions of ourselves to the world. While this empowers some to express their authentic selves, it can also lead to a fragmented identity, as users grapple with the demands of public perception versus private reality. The question arises, do we risk losing a deeper sense of self in the myriad of roles we adopt online? Additionally, consider the implications of cultural and ethnic identities. Being part of a specific culture can influence one's worldview and self-conception deeply. Philosophers like Edward Said explored how culture interacts with power and identity in his seminal work, Orientalism. He sheds light on how identities are often shaped by external narratives, which can marginalize certain groups while elevating others. This invites us to ponder how much of our identity is organically ours versus shaped by societal constructions. In the end, the dilemma of identity is intrinsically linked to the human experience, a dance between our self-definition and the labels bestowed by the world around us. Are these distinctions helpful navigational tools or restrictive classifications that inhibit our understanding? As we ponder these questions, we are encouraged to look inward, beyond the labels, beyond the parent, the teacher, the provider. Who are we at our core? In this moment of reflection, one must consider the fluidity of identity itself. We may find different ways to identify at various stages of life, revealing a spectrum rather than a static definition. The essence of being human lies not in the labels we adopt, but in our capacity for growth, adaptation, and exploration. So let us leave this contemplation open. Who are we beyond our labels? The answer may continuously evolve, beckoning us to explore deeper layers of our identity, inviting us to embrace both the labels and the rich, uncharted territory beyond them. The nature of fear. What are we really afraid of? Imagine standing alone at the edge of a vast, dark forest. The trees loom above you, their branches twisting into knotted fingers that seem to grasp at the sky. Behind you lies the warmth and comfort of home, while in front, shadows dance ominously, hinting at the unknown. As you contemplate stepping into the darkness, a question stirs within. What exactly am I afraid of? Is it the chill of the night air, the possibility of danger lurking among the branches, or something deeper, hidden within my own heart? Fear is a universal experience, yet its nature eludes simple categorization. At the center of philosophical inquiry, fear challenges us to consider its origins and implications. Aristotle regarded fear as a response to perceived threats, influencing our actions and decisions. He categorized fear as a rational response, demanding that we face dangers with courage, thus highlighting the interplay between fear and virtue. Yet do we ever explore the underlying reasons behind our fears, such as existential anxiety or the fear of failure, loneliness, and loss? Moving through time, we encounter thinkers like Friedrich Nietzsche, who elicits a deeper understanding of fear. Nietzsche believed that fear can hinder personal growth and the exploration of one's true self. By confronting our fears, we might overcome them, finding strength in vulnerability. Yet, is this courageous confrontation possible, or is our fear a protective mechanism that keeps us tethered to comfort and familiarity? In contrast, existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre argue that the recognition of our freedom can also incite fear, as it forces us to acknowledge the weight of our choices and responsibilities. In the modern world, fear has taken on new dimensions. The anxieties surrounding climate change, political instability, and economic uncertainty shape our communal psyche. Fear of failure is often amplified by the comparison culture fueled by social media, a platform where the curated lives of others seem to taunt our own perceived shortcomings. In this digital age, the collective fear evolves, but is it a reflection of society, or does it stem from within, a manifestation of our insecurities and the relentless pursuit of approval. Yet, perhaps the most profound fear lies in our fear of fear itself. We dread not only physical threats, but also the emotional toll of exposing our vulnerabilities. This paradox reveals a truth, that in acknowledging our fears, we might uncover a deeper fear of facing our own humanity. To embrace our fears is to embrace ourselves, with all of our imperfections and uncertainties. Can we find solace in the knowledge that every person, beneath the surface, wrestles with their own shadows, each navigating a personal labyrinth of fear? As we navigate this complex landscape, we might wonder, where do we draw the line between a healthy fear that safeguards us and a paralyzing fear that restricts our lives? Is fear an innate response to danger, or is it a construction of our minds, an echo of societal pressures and individual experiences? In facing our fears, perhaps we discover not just what we are afraid of, but who we truly are. As we conclude this reflective journey through the nature of fear, let us consider this open-ended question. What is the transformative potential of embracing our fears, and how might it lead us to deeper self-understanding and connection with those around us? The answers may not be clear, but in pondering them, we embark on a path toward greater awareness, inviting us to explore the uncharted territories of our human experience. The essence of love. What is love beyond romance? Picture a quiet morning, sunlight filtering through the leaves of a tree, casting gentle shadows on the ground. A mother cradles her newborn in her arms, her eyes brimming with a love that seems to transcend the bounds of mere biology. She is not just nurturing a child, she is part of an ancient story of connection that echoes through generations. In this stillness, one might wonder, what is love? If we look beyond the romantic relationships often celebrated in our culture, the essence of love extends far beyond the fluttering hearts and passionate encounters painted in poetry. Philosopher Erich Fromm once articulated love as an active concern for the life and growth of that which we love. This suggests that love is less an emotion we experience and more a deliberate choice we make, a nurturing act extending to friends, family, and indeed all of humanity. It nudges us to consider the vast spectrum of love. The love one feels for a child, a friend, or even for a stranger in need. These forms of love reveal a profound interconnection where empathy and compassion flourish. Contrast this with the perspective espoused by Plato, who regarded love as a driving force toward beauty and wisdom. In his dialogues, love leads us from the physical realm to the spiritual, urging us to seek a greater truth beyond our immediate desires. Love, in this light, becomes a quest for the divine, a tool for understanding deeper realities. This quest is not confined to romantic pursuits, but permeates our relationships with friends, mentors, and even nature, the love of knowledge as well as the love of existence itself. Yet love is not without its complexities. Modern thinkers like bell hooks argue for a radical redefinition of love as a transformative force rooted in justice, a commitment to the well-being of ourselves and each other. Hooks challenges us to consider love's role in combating systemic injustices, further expanding our understanding of love's essential place within societal structures, community, and shared humanity. If love can serve as a remedy for the world's ills, can we not argue that its essence is found in our collective kindness, our acts of compassion that ripple through society? However, consider the darker manifestations of love too. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche provocatively argued that love, like any powerful emotion, has the potential to be both constructive and destructive. Jealousy, possessiveness, and obsessive attachment can distort the beauty of love. This duality presents a dilemma. How do we cultivate a love that is altruistic and enriching, rather than one that confines and harms? As we navigate the intricate landscape of love, we encounter the question of its impermanence. Love can be fleeting or enduring, nourishing some relationships while leading others to an inevitable end. This prompts us to reflect. Does the transient nature of love lessen its significance, or does it enhance our appreciation for the moments we share with others? In contemplating the essence of love, we find ourselves at the heart of a richer narrative that encompasses more than simply romantic notions. Love exists in our connections, our empathetic outreach, and our shared humanity. Perhaps, as we ponder this profound and multifaceted emotion, We can embrace the idea that love's true depth lies in its capacity to challenge, heal, and inspire. In that stillness of morning light, what does love whisper to you? As we continue to explore this vast and tender territory, we invite you to reflect on what love means in your life, beyond the confines of romance. Creativity and imagination, what sparks our inspiration? Imagine a quiet room, bathed in gentle sunlight, where a painter stares at a blank canvas, waiting. The air is thick with potential and silence. Suddenly, an idea strikes, and color spills forth, transforming the emptiness into a vibrant landscape. But where did that spark come from? What ignited the imagination in that moment of creation? This is the essence of our journey into the realm of creativity and imagination, touching on a profound philosophical dilemma. At its core, creativity invites us to ponder the sources of inspiration. Is it an innate human ability, a gift of the divine, or perhaps the result of societal influences? The renowned philosopher Immanuel Kant proposed that creativity arises from a synthesis of our faculties: imagination, understanding, and sensation. According to Kant, it is our ability to make associations, to perceive connections where none seem to exist, that gives rise to novel ideas. In this sense, creativity becomes a manifestation of human reason and intuition woven together. However, contrasting perspectives pull us in different directions. The Romantic philosophers, such as Friedrich Schiller and William Blake, celebrated creativity as a form of emotional expression, a means to articulate our innermost feelings. For them, inspiration was not merely a cognitive process, but a deeply visceral experience that connected the creator to their human essence. They believed that through creativity, we tap into the sublime and the ineffable, reaching beyond the mundane reality of existence. Yet in today's world, we often find ourselves asking, what feeds our imagination? The digital age presents a double-edged sword. On one hand, the internet gives unprecedented access to the vast tapestry of human creativity, from ancient texts and artwork to modern multimedia. It democratizes inspiration, inviting diverse voices and experiences to enrich our collective understanding. Yet it also raises concerns about originality and the overwhelming influx of stimuli, which can dilute authentic inspiration. Are we creators, or are we merely remixers of the immense library that surrounds us? The tension between individualistic creativity and communal influences often surfaces in discussions about creative thinkers like Steve Jobs, who viewed inspiration as the intersection of technology and the liberal arts. He believed that true innovation comes from a unique blend of diverse influences, shaping ideas not in isolation, but in conversation with the world. This perspective challenges us to consider whether our creativity is our own, or is intricately interwoven with the myriad influences we encounter. Inviting more complexities into our reflection, some modern theories suggest that inspiration may also spring from our subconscious, those hidden depths of our minds that reveal themselves in dreams or during moments of quiet contemplation. Carl Jung spoke of the collective unconscious, a reservoir of shared human experiences and archetypes. Perhaps this collective tapestry fuels our imagination in ways we don't fully comprehend, connecting us to universal themes that resonate across time and culture. Ultimately, the question of what sparks inspiration remains a fascinating conundrum. Is it purely an internal awakening, or are we intimately connected to the world that surrounds us? Is creativity constrained by the boundaries of our thoughts, or is it an unfettered exploration of possibilities? As you reflect on these questions, consider your own moments of inspiration. What ignited them? In the end, we are left with an open-ended journey into the nature of creativity itself, a profound exploration that invites us to delve deeper into our shared human experience, ever seeking to understand the spark that ignites our imagination. The role of memory in personal identity. Are we our memories? Imagine waking up one day to find that you no longer remember who you are. Your name, your family, your favorite memories, each slips away like water through your fingers. Stripped of the recollections that once defined you, what remains? Are you still the same person? This intimate thought experiment invites us into the profound philosophical questions surrounding memory and identity. Can we truly say we are who we are without our memories? Memory serves as the fabric of our identity, weaving together experiences, sensations, and emotions that shape our understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. As philosopher John Locke proposed in the 17th century, personal identity is tied closely to consciousness and memory. According to Locke, we are the sum of our memories. Without them, we risk becoming disoriented wanderers within our own lives. Imagine a ship idly floating without a sail or a destination. This reflects the vulnerability of identity when stripped of memory. Yet contrast this with the thoughts of philosopher David Hume, who argued that the self is but a bundle of perceptions. For Hume, identity is not anchored in memory, but continually created and redefined through our experiences. In this view, we are like a river, forever flowing and changing, not fixed. If memories are fleeting and subjective, can they truly anchor our identity? Perhaps our sense of self is less about recollection and more about the ongoing narrative we craft in our lives. In modern life, the significance of this dilemma is ever more evident, especially as we face the realities of memory-related conditions such as Alzheimer's disease. Individuals grappling with memory loss are forced to inhabit a world where their identity feels compromised. They may recall moments from their distant past, yet the relationships and experiences tied to their present remain elusive. In such cases, how do we approach identity? Are they still the same person their loved ones remember, or do their memories mold their very essence? The stories we tell about ourselves can feel fragmented, as lost pieces transform into whispers of who we once were. Moreover, the impact of technology on memory deserves reflection. In an age where we can externalize our memories through photographs, social media, and digital diaries, what happens to our understanding of self? If we rely on these digital artifacts to train our memory, do they buoy our identity or merely confuse it? Philosopher Marshall McLuhan famously noted, "We shape our tools, and thereafter our tools shape us." This begs the question, are we forgetting how to remember authentically, allowing reliance on external sources to define who we are? Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the relationship between memory and identity is its malleability. Our memories can shift, reshape, and sometimes even deceive us. Each recollection is colored by emotion, context, and our present selves, an ever-evolving tapestry rather than a static portrait. As you wander through your memories, pause to ask, if memories are not the unchanging anchors of identity, then what does it truly mean to be oneself? In traversing the labyrinth of memory and identity, we find ourselves ensconced in questions without definitive answers. Are we solely our memories, or are we something greater, shaped by our emotions, experiences, and connections? Invite yourself to ponder, in the quiet spaces of memory, who are you becoming, and what do you wish to remember? Change as a constant, how do we embrace transformation? Imagine standing at the edge of a vast river, the waters flowing ceaselessly, reshaping the riverbed, carving new paths with each passing moment. The sun rises and sets, seasons shift, and yet the river remains, an embodiment of change itself. How do we navigate our own lives amid such relentless transformation? Is it possible to embrace change not as a disruption, but as an inherent part of existence? The philosophical inquiry into change invites us to reflect upon the very nature of reality. Heraclitus famously remarked that one could not step into the same river twice, suggesting that stability is an illusion and that life is a perpetual flow of change. Contrasting this is the perspective of Parmenides, who argued that change is an illusion, positing that what is remains unchanged. This tension reveals a fundamental human dilemma. How do we reconcile our desire for permanence in an impermanent world? In modern terms, this dilemma resonates strongly as we navigate a society marked by rapid technological advancements, shifting cultural norms, and the pressures of personal growth. Think of the young person entering the workforce, grappling with uncertainty and the fear of failure. Change often feels like a loss of familiar routines, loss of identity, loss of control. Yet, could it be that within each transformation lies an opportunity for renewal and creativity? Consider the Buddhist perspective, which teaches that clinging to permanence leads to suffering. From this vantage, embracing impermanence is an act of liberation. When one acknowledges that all phenomena are fleeting, fear can surrender to acceptance, and we may begin to appreciate the beauty of each moment. This perspective aligns with what existentialists like Søren Kierkegaard might suggest, that by acknowledging our finite existence and the inevitability of change, we can live more authentically and fully, engaging in the present. Yet the embrace of transformation is not without its challenges. Many modern individuals find themselves caught in the tension between maintaining a sense of identity while welcoming change. One might ponder, how do we remain true to ourselves amidst this flux? Are we merely products of our circumstances, or do we possess agency in shaping who we become? Real-world implications abound. Relationships evolve, careers shift, and our understanding of self often transforms in unexpected ways. The resilience needed to navigate these changes is perhaps a vital quality in our fast-paced world. Psychologists highlight the importance of adaptability and growth mindset, the idea that challenges can foster development rather than hindrance. This resonates with the notion that transformation is not just a necessity to endure, but a pathway to discovery. As we approach the end of our contemplation, we return to that flowing river. How can we learn to dance along its banks, rather than struggle against its currents? Instead of striving to control every outcome, could we cultivate a sense of curiosity about the changes we face? Perhaps embracing transformation involves recognizing the threads of connection between our past selves and who we aspire to be in the future. Ultimately, the question of how we embrace change invites us to reflect on our narratives. How can we reframe our experiences of loss as opportunities for growth? In the quiet moments of introspection, one might find that in accepting change, we uncover the essence of our humanity, constantly evolving, always becoming. As you ponder these thoughts, consider, what transformation in your life awaits your embrace? The journey through change may be uncertain, but it is also a profound path toward self-discovery and renewal. The shadows of regret, can we learn to let go? Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, the waves crashing rhythmically against the shore while a gentle breeze brushes against your skin. Now consider all the choices you've made in your life, the paths you didn't take, the opportunities you missed, and the words left unspoken. As you gaze into the horizon, a haunting question emerges. Can we ever truly let go of regret? Regret, that heavy shadow we carry, is a deeply human experience. It can stem from decisions that feel irrevocable, from paths that seem to lead to lost potential. The ancient Greek philosopher Albert Camus pondered the absurdity of life, suggesting that to live is to inhabit a world layered with a perpetual sense of longing and regret. In this light, we learn that while we cannot change the past, we can shape our present perspective. Philosophers like Friedrich Nietzsche promote a radical idea of amor fati, which translates roughly to love your fate. He argues that instead of succumbing to regret, we should embrace our life experiences, including the mistakes, as essential to our growth. Regret, in this view, is not merely an ailment, but a catalyst for self-discovery and resilience. Rather than allowing regret to weigh us down, we could use it as a stepping stone toward understanding our deeper desires and motivations. However, the paradox of regret remains. Is it possible to learn from our past without being consumed by it? On one hand, existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre assert that we are condemned to be free. This means we are responsible for our choices and must confront the weight of our decisions. Regret is inherent in this freedom, a reminder that we are sentient beings capable of reflection and self-criticism. Yet, if we dwell too long in this space of contemplation, we risk spiraling into despair, shackled by our past choices. In a modern context, consider the implications of social media, where curated lives often intensify feelings of regret. Individuals frequently compare their present circumstances to the best moments of others, highlighting missed opportunities and perceived failures. This creates a cyclical effect, where the past festers in the mind, manifesting in anxiety and sorrow. But what if we chose to reframe these moments? Rather than viewing them as burdens, we can recognize that they are part of a rich tapestry that makes life uniquely ours. Many psychological theories suggest that actively processing and reframing our regrets can lead to personal growth. Research indicates that sharing regrets, whether through journaling or storytelling, can help in releasing their grip on our hearts. By confronting these shadows, we may find that they lose their power over us. Yet even as we strive to let go, the question lingers. Is complete absolution from regret attainable, or is it an ever-present companion on our journey? Regret contains wisdom, the insight that our deepest vulnerabilities and choices reveal who we are. It invites us to reflect on our values and aspirations, and in turn, can guide us toward more intentional living. Yet the dance with regret is complex, often leaving us to wonder whether true release is achievable. As we navigate this emotional landscape, perhaps the most profound realization is the invitation for ongoing reflection. Can we embrace our human fallibility, and in doing so, cultivate a heart open to both regret and forgiveness? It's a question that offers no concrete answer, leaving us to ponder the nuances of our existence in the quiet moments by the shore. The influence of culture. How does it shape our worldview? Imagine a child growing up in a small village, where daily life is guided by traditions passed down through generations. This child learns to navigate the world through the lens of their culture, understanding right from wrong, beauty from ugliness, and success from failure, all shaped by the beliefs and practices of their community. Now picture a child raised in a bustling city, surrounded by diverse cultures and lifestyles, where the very notion of identity is constantly shifting. How do these contrasting environments contribute to how each child interprets their place in the world? How does culture mold our perspectives and shape our understanding of reality? At the heart of this inquiry lies a profound philosophical issue: the relationship between culture and worldview. The way we perceive the world is intimately tied to the cultural narratives that surround us. From the perspectives of philosophers like Friedrich Nietzsche, who famously declared that there are no facts, only interpretations, to the more contemporary thoughts of cultural anthropologists, the idea emerges that our beliefs are not merely personal, but deeply communal, steeped in the histories and experiences of those who came before us. For instance, consider the collectivist ideals emphasized in many Eastern cultures, which prioritize community and harmony over individual desires. In contrast, Western cultures often celebrate individualism, championing self-expression and personal achievement. These foundational differences can shape ethical viewpoints, approaches to conflict resolution, and even the way we experience emotions. While Confucianism teaches respect for authority and familial duty, existentialism, championed by philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre, promotes the radical freedom and responsibility of the individual. Thus, our cultural backgrounds lead us to different conclusions about what constitutes a meaningful life. Modern issues such as globalization further complicate this relationship. As cultures interact and intermingle, individuals face a rich tapestry of ideologies, often leading to cognitive dissonance, or the struggle between conflicting cultural narratives. For instance, a young urban professional might embrace both the drive for personal success and the importance of community engagement, creating a unique worldview that blends seemingly disparate cultural influences. As we navigate this complex landscape, we inevitably ask, how do we assess which cultural elements to accept and which to challenge? Yet, the influence of culture is neither inherently good nor evil. It simply is. It can empower individuals and communities, providing a sense of belonging and identity. At the same time, it can constrain thought, leading to dogma or prejudice. The philosopher Michel Foucault hinted at this duality in exploring how power dynamics shape discourse. Who gets to define what is normal or valuable? In our contemporary world, the rise of social media platforms allows individuals to either reinforce their cultural biases or encounter challenging viewpoints, prompting further reflection on their beliefs. As we contemplate the influence of culture on our worldview, we are drawn into an open-ended exploration. Each individual's journey through their unique cultural landscape is peppered with moments of curiosity, confusion, and ultimately growth. How do we reconcile disparate cultural teachings in our quest for understanding? And as we continue to share experiences across cultures, what new worldviews will emerge? Perhaps, in recognizing the fluidity of our perspectives, we can embrace the richness of our differences while seeking common ground in our shared human experience. The journey, much like the world itself, remains beautifully complex and ever-evolving, inviting us to reflect and engage in thoughtful dialogue as we explore the rich tapestry of our interconnected lives. Nature versus nurture. How much of us is innate? Imagine a child, raised in a nurturing environment filled with books, art, and exploration, flourishing into a compassionate thinker who values creativity and intellect. Now picture another child, growing up in a harsh, neglectful setting, perhaps drawn to survival instincts and hardened by adversity. As these two individuals traverse life, the question arises, to what extent are they shaped by their upbringing, and how much of their essence is predestined by genetics? This brings us to the enduring philosophical exploration of the nature versus nurture debate. At its core, this dilemma beckons us to consider the dichotomy between innate qualities, attributes we carry from birth, and the influences of our environment, which sculpt our personalities and choices throughout life. Aristotle famously posited that nature makes nothing in vain, suggesting that our genetic inheritance carries intrinsic potential. Yet the contrasting view, championed by John Locke, introduced the concept of the mind as a blank slate, positing that experiences and education shape human beings into who they become. Modern psychologists have added layers to this dialogue, introducing theories that highlight the entangled nature of biology and environment. For instance, the biopsychosocial model recognizes that our mental health and behavior are influenced by biological factors, psychological realities, and social conditions. This interplay suggests that rather than a strict dichotomy, we exist within a spectrum where nature and nurture collaborate to shape our identities. The impact of this debate extends far beyond academic discussion. In contemporary society, understanding how much of us is innate has ramifications for addressing social issues such as crime, mental health, and education. For instance, the rising field of epigenetics reveals how environmental factors can influence gene expression, challenging the deterministic view that genes alone craft our destiny. This realization compels us to reconsider our approach to rehabilitation for criminal behavior and support for mental health, as it emphasizes the possibility for transformation and change through nurturing. Yet, as we contemplate these perspectives, we encounter ethical inquiries. What does it mean for personal responsibility if our actions are deeply rooted in genetics or shaped by hardships beyond our control? Are we merely products of our upbringing, or is there a core essence within us striving to emerge, regardless of external influences? Notable philosophers like Friedrich Nietzsche, grappling with notions of free will, assert that to take ownership of our choices is as crucial as understanding the factors that influence them. As you navigate the complexity of this dilemma, consider your own life experiences. What elements do you attribute to inherited traits, and which do you see as sculpted by your environment? Each moment, every interaction, crafts the tapestry of who you are. The nature versus nurture debate invites us to sit in a space of reflection, questioning, pondering, and remaining open to the vast intricacies of human existence. What if there is no definitive conclusion? Instead, what if the beauty of being human lies in the mystery of our development, where both internal and external forces intertwine to create a unique tapestry? In this moment of contemplation, one is left with a profound inquiry. Who are we truly, in this delicate dance of existence, an intricate mix of nature and nurture, forever evolving and redefining ourselves? The fabric of reality, what if everything is just a simulation? Imagine waking up one day to discover that your entire life, every experience, every heartbreak, and every moment of joy has unfolded in a complex simulation crafted by an advanced civilization. You gaze out at a world that seems richly detailed, yet upon closer reflection, the vibrant colors and crisp sounds begin to feel like lines of code woven into a grand design. Would that realization shatter your understanding of existence or provide a profound sense of wonder? This thought experiment echoes a contemporary philosophical inquiry. What if everything is just a simulation? This idea, often associated with thinkers like Nick Bostrom, suggests that if it's possible for future civilizations to create realistic simulations of their ancestors, we might very well find ourselves in one. Bostrom posits that at least one of three propositions is true. Either civilizations don't reach a level of technological prowess capable of creating such simulations, they choose not to run them, or we are almost certainly living in a simulation ourselves. The implications of this investigation are vast, prompting us to consider the nature of reality, consciousness, and existence. On one hand, the simulation hypothesis supports an interpretation of reality as a constructed stream of data. Philosophers like René Descartes also toyed with similar thoughts, famously asking, "What if I am dreaming?" He concluded that while he could doubt everything, the very act of thinking confirmed his existence. Cogito ergo sum. In this light, the simulation theory invites us to question the essence of our reality, while suggesting that our consciousness persists even within an artificial framework. Conversely, some philosophers reject the notion of a simulated universe, arguing for the inherent authenticity of our lived experiences. They may cite Immanuel Kant, who asserted that our perceptions shape our understanding of reality. For Kant, the world as we know it is shaped by categories of human thought, not merely by an external simulation. If our experiences, emotions, and connections are genuine, bound to our consciousness, does it really matter if the backdrop is artificial? Perhaps, in a profound sense, our experiences possess their own intrinsic value, regardless of their origin. The modern relevance of this dilemma becomes apparent in the digital age. As we become increasingly intertwined with technology, we find ourselves navigating realms of social media, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence. These environments often simulate human connection while inciting introspection about what it means to be real. In a world where virtual lives can obscure genuine emotions, the simulation hypothesis serves as a reminder to seek authenticity, even when it feels encoded in pixels and data. Yet when we embrace the possibility that life may be a sophisticated fabrication, it raises deeper questions about agency and purpose. If we are simulation dwellers, does that diminish our choices or alter our moral responsibilities? Or can we create meaning and significance within this digital tapestry? Ultimately, the simulation hypothesis compels us to confront the essence of our reality, inviting us to engage with the deepest questions of existence. As we traverse this intellectual terrain, we arrive at a precipice of uncertainty. What if the intricate web of experiences, the laughter, tears, and quiet moments, serves a purpose beyond mere reality? Perhaps the answer lies not in defining the nature of our environment, but in exploring how we respond to it. Whether or not we find ourselves in a simulation, our journey remains rich and resonant. We invite you to reflect on your perceptions of reality, allowing the question of existence to deepen your understanding of your own life story, an ever-evolving narrative filled with both mystery and meaning. The pursuit of knowledge, is ignorance truly bliss? Imagine a serene village where the sun bathes the cobblestone streets in golden hues and laughter echoes through the air. In this idyllic setting, the villagers have chosen to embrace a simple life, free of the burdens of knowledge and the chaos of the wider world. They wake each day, content in their routines, blissfully unaware of the tumult outside their borders, conflicts, environmental crises, and the complexities of existence beyond their peaceful enclave. For them, ignorance fuels an untroubled happiness. But should we question whether this bliss is genuinely desirable? At the heart of this contemplation lies the philosophical dilemma. Is ignorance truly bliss, or does knowledge, despite its burdens, enrich our lives in ways we cannot fully appreciate? This question has resonated through the ages, prompting thinkers like Socrates, who famously stated that the unexamined life is not worth living. He believed that knowledge and self-awareness are essential for living a meaningful life, suggesting that the pursuit of knowledge, though often painful, is a path to true fulfillment. Contrast this with the perspective of the poet Thomas Gray, who articulated the notion of blissful ignorance in his work, Ode on a Distant Prospect of Eton College. Gray suggests that the innocence of youth, unmarred by knowledge of life's harsh realities, is enviable. His reflections imply that perhaps there is virtue in remaining unaware of the trials that lie ahead. Knowledge can lead to disillusionment and sorrow, while ignorance allows for a reassuring simplicity. In modern life, we witness this tension every day. Social media exposes us to the world's injustices, crises, and complexities at an unprecedented scale. In response, many retreat into curated bubbles, seeking distraction and detachment, often advocating that ignorance might be a worthwhile refuge from the emotional weight of understanding. Yet this choice raises further questions. Does turning away from the struggles of the world relieve our burden, or does it simply postpone facing the realities that shape our lives and relationships. Moreover, there is a profound connection between knowledge and empathy. Understanding the plight of others often compels us to act with compassion. If ignorance shields us from pain, it may also inhibit our ability to connect and foster a sense of community. Thinkers like Friedrich Nietzsche challenge us to embrace suffering and knowledge, asserting that the struggle for understanding ultimately cultivates strength and depth of character. Yet therein lies the paradox. The pursuit of knowledge can lead us to despair, helplessness, and an overwhelming sense of responsibility. Is it any wonder that the idea of ignorance as bliss has appeal? Perhaps those who remain untouched by the world's harsher truths possess a serene contentment that eludes those who seek to fathom life's depths. As we navigate our own lives, we must consider where we stand on this continuum of knowledge and ignorance. Are we prepared to confront the truths of existence, knowing they come with both suffering and beauty? Or do we long for a simpler, more tranquil experience, echoing the villager's choice? The journey toward understanding is fraught with challenges, yet it also promises moments of profound insight and connection. Thus, the question lingers. In this intricate dance between knowledge and ignorance, can we find a balance that allows us to appreciate the beauty of life while recognizing its complexities? Perhaps the pursuit of knowledge is not about choosing between blissful ignorance or painful awareness, but about navigating the delicate terrain where both can coexist, each illuminating the other. As you ponder this dilemma, consider how your own understanding shapes your experiences and what kind of journey you wish to embrace. Consciousness. What is it and where does it live? Imagine waking up one day to discover that your thoughts, feelings, and self-perception were simply an elaborate illusion. The colors of your dreams, the laughter shared with friends, the sensations of love and pain, what if they were all mere reflections in a vast, intricate simulation? This notion invites us into the profound enigma of consciousness, prompting us to ponder, what is consciousness, and where does it truly reside? At its essence, consciousness is the fabric of our subjective experiences, the lens through which we perceive the world and ourselves. But as we delve deeper, we encounter a philosophical labyrinth. René Descartes proposed, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, suggesting that our very existence is intertwined with our capacity to think and reason. Yet this leads us to question, can there be consciousness without a physical body? How do thoughts and awareness emerge from the biological processes of neurons firing in our brains? The materialist perspective asserts that consciousness is a product of brain activity. Our experiences are merely the byproduct of chemical interactions and electrical impulses. Philosophers like Daniel Dennett argue that consciousness arises from complex cognitive processes, positioning us as sophisticated organisms navigating a mechanistic universe. According to this view, we are not separate from our biological makeup. Consciousness lives in the intricate networks of our neural architecture. Contrasting this, dualist philosophers, such as Descartes himself, contend that the mind exists independently from the body. This dualism suggests two realms: the physical, governed by scientific laws, and the mental, with qualities beyond empirical measurement. In this light, consciousness becomes an abstract entity, eluding a straightforward anatomical location. If the mind and body are distinct, can consciousness exist outside the confines of our physical form? Modern developments in neuroscience and philosophy often clash with these age-old perspectives. Consider the implications of artificial intelligence. As machines evolve to replicate human-like responses and interactions, we start to ask if they too could possess forms of consciousness. If a sophisticated AI can converse, solve problems, and simulate emotions, does it experience consciousness or merely mimic it? This connects us to the philosophical concept of the Turing test, which challenges us to redefine our understanding of intelligence and self-awareness. As we explore where consciousness might dwell, we reflect on the implications for personal identity. If consciousness exists within the brain, how does a brain injury affect who we believe ourselves to be? When neurodegenerative diseases alter this landscape, who are we when our memories fade? This inquiry extends to ethical considerations surrounding technology and the potential creation of sentient beings, raising questions about our moral responsibilities toward them. Yet, the most haunting question may remain unanswered. If consciousness is indeed a product of the brain, what are we to make of profound transcendent moments that feel undeniably real, such as near-death experiences or instances of deep meditation? Are these glimpses into something beyond or mere neurological phenomena? In the end, consciousness remains one of humanity's greatest mysteries, a conundrum that invites us into endless exploration. As we ponder the essence of our experience, we're left with the profound realization that we may never fully grasp where consciousness lives or what it truly is. Perhaps, in our quest for understanding, the most important discovery lies not in finding answers, but in embracing the wonder of our shared existence, an intimate dance of awareness within the cosmos. What do you think consciousness means for you, and how does it shape the moments of your life? Social constructs. What holds society together? Imagine a bustling city street filled with laughter, conversation, and a myriad of interactions. People navigate their lives, building relationships, forming communities, and adhering to various social norms. As you observe, a question emerges. What truly holds this vibrant tapestry of human connection together? Is it inherent nature, shared interests, or the elusive yet powerful force of social constructs? At the heart of philosophy lies this exploration of social constructs, the agreed-upon ideas and norms that shape our societies. Think of the concept of money. It's a mere piece of paper or a digital number, yet it has enormous value because we collectively agree upon its worth. Economists and sociologists alike examine how constructs such as money, marriage, and even justice are not merely functions of individual intent, but rather products of collective human agreement. This invites us to consider, in the words of philosopher Thomas Kuhn, how paradigms shape our understanding of reality. Contrast this with the views of existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre, who argued that existence precedes essence. Sartre believed that individuals bear the responsibility of defining their own essence, free from the constraints of societal constructs. For him, the individual creates meaning in an otherwise indifferent universe. Yet, how does this perspective hold up against the backdrop of a society that relies heavily on shared constructs for functioning? The duality of these perspectives begs the question: can we exist meaningfully if we reject the social constructs that guide our interactions? In our modern world, consider the phenomenon of digital communication, where the very constructs of identity and community are evolving. Social media platforms create spaces where individuals can curate their selves, while simultaneously depending on societal norms of authenticity, influence, and connection. We see new constructs forming around concepts like likes, followers, and trending, which dictate social behaviors in ways previously unimaginable. But as members of this intricate social web, we must also grapple with the drawbacks of these constructs. Social norms can lead to exclusion, discrimination, and conflict, as philosopher Michel Foucault points out when examining the power dynamics inherent in societal frameworks. Constructs can be both binding and shackling, providing order while fostering inequality. Take, for instance, the construct of gender roles, historically used to guide behavior. How have they shaped individual experiences, and how might we reimagine them in a way that fosters inclusivity? As we reflect on this, we realize that constructs, while necessary for cohesion and community, are not immovable truths. They often shift with time and context, revealing the fluidity of human interaction. This adaptability offers hope and encourages questioning, a theme echoed by philosophers like Judith Butler, who advocates for the fluidity of identity as a rejection of rigid constructs. So what holds society together? Perhaps the answer isn't found in rigid adherence to constructs, but rather in our willingness to engage with, question, and reshape them. As we navigate our lives, consider how your own beliefs and actions contribute to these collective agreements. Are we upholding constructs that foster connection and understanding, or are we perpetuating those that sow division? These are the reflections that may guide us toward deeper engagement with our shared humanity, leaving us with an open-ended invitation to continuously explore our social reality. What new constructs might we create together? The concept of success. Are we chasing the wrong goals? Imagine a young artist standing in front of a burning canvas, the ashes of her dreams swirling away in the wind. She has poured her heart into every stroke, yet the world labels her a failure, for her work has not garnered the acclaim she imagined. In that visceral moment, she questions herself. What is success? Is it the accolades of a distant jury, or something deeper, something intrinsic to her journey of creation? This brings us to a profound exploration of success and the goals we pursue. Are we, perhaps, chasing the wrong ideals? Historically, success has often been defined through external validation, wealth, fame, and social status. From Aristotle's notion of eudaimonia, which champions a life of virtue and purpose, to modern capitalism's incessant push for accumulation, our understanding of success is closely tied to external measures. Yet, in our rush to conform to societal expectations, do we neglect the more profound personal dimensions of fulfillment? Existentialist thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre remind us that existence precedes essence, suggesting that we are responsible for defining our own goals rather than merely accepting those imposed upon us. On the other hand, the Stoics, particularly Epictetus, warn against measuring success by external standards. They propose an inward turn, advocating that we should focus on what is within our control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions, rather than on fleeting external circumstances. This perspective encourages us to find success in resilience and personal growth rather than the validation of others. Imagine defining success not by a promotion or an award, but by the impact you make in the lives of those around you or the personal peace you cultivate. Yet, in a world increasingly defined by social media and visibility, this inward perspective can feel countercultural. Many find themselves trapped in a cycle of comparison, where success seems synonymous with likes, followers, or material achievements. This raises the question, can we redefine success in a way that honors our individual values and desires? Is happiness a viable alternative measure of success? Consider the philosopher Henry David Thoreau, who advocated for a life of simplicity and introspection, challenging the frenzied pursuit of societal norms. His reflections remind us that fulfillment can arise from living authentically, cultivating our passions, or nurturing deep connections with others. However, many fear that prioritizing personal fulfillment over conventional success leads to financial instability or social isolation, illustrating the tension between self-actualization and societal expectations. In today's world, where burnout and disillusionment are rampant, these dilemmas take on a tangible weight. As we reflect on our own lives, we might question whether our objectives align with our deeper values or whether they reflect external pressures. Are we successful in our work if we are emotionally drained? Or can we celebrate our contributions and relationships, regardless of public recognition? Ultimately, the concept of success invites us to ponder, are we chasing a mirage, forever running after goals that offer little joy or satisfaction? Perhaps success is not a destination, but a continuous journey of self-discovery and alignment with our core values. It beckons us to invite introspection and to embrace the complexity of our experiences. As we navigate this intricate philosophical landscape, may we find solace in the possibility that the paths we carve are uniquely ours, inviting us to live authentically, no matter how unconventional that may seem. The illusion of control. How much control do we really have? Imagine for a moment standing atop a great mountain, gazing out at an expanse of forest and river below. A cool breeze ruffles the leaves, and at that moment you might feel a sense of absolute freedom. You can choose to hike down, to contemplate the scenery, or perhaps to sit in silence, listening to nature. Yet, as the tranquility washes over you, a thought arises. How much of this situation is truly in your hands? Can you control the very next step you take, or is that too shaped by forces beyond your comprehension? This scenario gently nudges us toward a profound philosophical inquiry, the illusion of control. Are we, in fact, the architects of our destinies, or do we merely play a role in a larger, predetermined tapestry? The Stoic philosophers, like Epictetus, suggested that while we may not control external events, we can control our reactions to them. The essence of this view highlights how our internal attitudes can shape our experiences, emphasizing the power of personal agency amidst uncontrollable circumstances. In contrast, determinism posits a more sobering perspective. Philosophers such as Baruch Spinoza and later Pierre-Simon Laplace argued that every event, including human actions, is the result of preceding events dictated by the laws of nature. If the determinism holds true, our sense of choice may be nothing more than an elaborate illusion. As we navigate daily decisions, what to eat, where to work, could it be that every choice we make is simply the consequence of prior conditions and universal laws beyond our reach? In modern society, this dilemma manifests in various contexts. Consider the rising concern over mental health and the overwhelming pressures of societal expectations. Individuals strive for control over careers, relationships, and personal happiness. Yet the unpredictability of life often stands in stark contrast to our desires for certainty and stability. The multifaceted nature of anxiety, characterized by a fear of the unknown, arises from this very conflict between our aspirations and the uncontrollable elements surrounding us. Furthermore, the idea of free will adds another layer to this discussion. While existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre champion the notion that individuals are free to define their essence, this freedom comes hand in hand with the weight of responsibility. If we truly possess free will, then we must also grapple with the consequences of our choices. Yet, if external forces shape us, our upbringing, societal norms, or even biological predispositions, what does this mean for our understanding of personal accountability? As we reflect on the illusion of control, we are confronted with an essential question: how do we find peace amidst this uncertainty? Some may find solace in acceptance, embracing the chaos of existence while acknowledging their limited agency. Others might seek deeper understanding through practices like mindfulness or meditation, gently navigating the complexities of their consciousness. Ultimately, the challenge lies in reconciling our inherent desire for control with the humbling reality of life's unpredictability. In closing, as you find quiet moments to contemplate your own existence, consider the interplay between control and surrender. What might it mean for you to let go of the illusion of total control while still engaging authentically with your life? The exploration of this dilemma invites ongoing reflection, nudging you toward a deeper understanding of both your place in the world and the delicate balance of agency within the grand tapestry of existence. Mindfulness and presence. How do you ground yourself in the moment? Imagine you're in a busy cafe, the sounds of chatter blending with the clinking of cups. A child giggles, a train whistles in the distance, and your mind races with thoughts of tomorrow's tasks and yesterday's regrets. In this flurry of stimulation, how do you ground yourself? How do you find presence in a world that perpetually demands your attention? This is the essence of mindfulness, a concept that beckons us to reconnect with the present moment, yet remains astonishingly elusive in our fast-paced lives. Mindfulness invites us to be aware of our thoughts and feelings without judgment, suggesting a liberation from the ceaseless stream of distractions. This notion echoes ancient practices found in Buddhism, particularly as articulated by Thich Nhat Hanh, who described mindfulness as the art of being present and fully alive. Yet as we consider this concept, we must inquire into the nature of presence itself. Is grounding ourselves simply about awareness, or does it require a deeper engagement with the world around us? Contrast this with thinkers like Heidegger, who argued that to truly be present is to be attuned to one's own existence and the essence of being. He believed that humans often forget their own being in the hustle of everyday life. In his view, mindfulness isn't just a tool, but a profound existential grounding that connects us to the world in ways that are both intimate and revealing. Heidegger challenges us to consider the question: are we merely experiencing moments, or are we deeply intertwined with them? In our modern lives, we tend to slip into autopilot, scrolling through our phones, immersed in a digital landscape that splits our attention. This evasion raises a significant philosophical question: how does this disconnection affect our authenticity? The philosopher Marshall McLuhan warned that media shapes our experiences and perceptions. In a society captivated by technology, are we losing the ability to be genuinely present? Are our conversations becoming mere echoes of our notifications, stripped of true connection? Moreover, the act of grounding oneself in the present moment is intertwined with the philosophy of existentialism. Thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre emphasized the importance of embracing one's current circumstances. By asserting that existence precedes essence, Sartre believed that individuals must consciously create their own meaning, regardless of external pressures. This resonates with our need for mindfulness. Grounding ourselves requires an acknowledgement of our freedom to choose where to direct our attention. Yet even as we ponder these rich philosophical perspectives, we must also acknowledge the practical side of cultivating mindfulness in our daily routines. Techniques such as breath awareness, meditation, and even conscious walking encourage us to center ourselves amidst life's chaos. They serve as tools to foster a state of presence, urging us to reclaim those scattered moments of our existence. As we navigate this landscape of thought, we arrive at an open-ended inquiry. How do we reconcile the urgency of modern life with the tranquility of intentional presence? The answer may remain fluid. Perhaps it lies not in fully achieving mindfulness, but in the persistent effort to engage with our thoughts and surroundings compassionately, recognizing each moment as a dance between existence and choice. So, as you sip your coffee and feel the warmth of the cup, ask yourself, what does it mean for me to be fully here, right now? Let this question linger, inviting your heart and mind to reflect on the boundless journey of being present. The interplay of fate and free will. Do our paths choose us? Picture this. A young artist stands before a blank canvas, brush in hand, contemplating the vibrant potential of creation before her. Each stroke she makes seems both deliberate and spontaneous, suggesting a dance between her intentions and the whims of inspiration. Yet as she steps back to examine her work, she cannot help but wonder, to what extent did she truly choose this path? Was she destined to be an artist, or did she carve her own journey through sheer will? This introspection leads us to the profound philosophical conundrum of fate and free will, a dichotomy that invites countless reflections. Are we the authors of our own stories, or are our destinies preordained by forces greater than ourselves? The ancient Greeks grappled with these questions, particularly through the lens of tragic literature. The concept of fate is powerfully illustrated in Sophocles' Oedipus Rex, where Oedipus's attempts to escape his prophesied destiny only lead him further into its grasp. His tale embodies a deep-rooted tension. Despite our choices, do we remain bound to the paths laid out before us? Contrastingly, existentialist thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre emphasize the significance of individual agency. Sartre famously claimed that existence precedes essence, proposing that humans are not born with a predetermined purpose, but are free to create their own essence through choices and actions. In this view, each decision shapes our identity and reality, affirming that we navigate our fates with an essential freedom. Yet the modern world often complicates these notions. With increasing discussions around systemic influences, such as socioeconomic status, culture, and circumstance, can one truly claim to have free will? Consider an aspiring entrepreneur from a disadvantaged background. While they may possess the drive and vision to start a business, societal barriers may restrict their opportunities. Here, fate intertwines with free will, suggesting that our autonomy exists within a framework of external constraints. Philosophers such as determinists believe that every event, including human actions, is determined by preceding events in accordance with the natural laws of the universe. This raises unsettling questions. If our choices are the result of prior causes beyond our control, can we still claim responsibility for them? In attempting to plot a course through this philosophical terrain, we must also acknowledge the emotional weight this dilemma carries. Imagine a person reflecting on their life's trajectory, navigating career decisions, relationships, and personal struggles. Is each choice a testament to their agency, or does it reflect an unwitting compliance with the narrative that life has thrust upon them? As we explore these musings, it's crucial to recognize that the interplay of fate and free will continues to unfold within our lives. Whether it be through the lens of philosophy, art, or everyday choices, these concepts invite us to reflect deeply on our existence. Ultimately, the question remains, do our paths choose us? As we traverse this life, crafting our stories brushstroke by brushstroke, we find ourselves at the nexus of choice and destiny, forever pondering the delicate balance between the two. And as the canvas of our lives continues to evolve, perhaps the most profound truth lies not in seeking definitive answers, but in embracing the journey itself, reflecting on the myriad of influences that shape our experiences, while holding open the possibility that we, too, wield the brush in our hands. Empathy and understanding. How do we connect across differences? Imagine walking into a cafe where, across the room, you notice two people engaged in a heated argument. One is passionately defending a political position, while the other counters with equal fervor their own. The atmosphere crackles with tension, and you can feel the walls of their beliefs closing in around them. In the midst of this turmoil, one question emerges: how can we ever hope to connect across such profound differences? This scenario highlights a philosophical dilemma at the heart of human interaction. How do we foster empathy and understanding when perspectives clash? The complexities of our experiences create a rich tapestry of beliefs, values, and emotions that often lead to division. Yet, the pursuit of empathy, the ability to share and understand the feelings of others, offers a pathway toward connection amidst diversity. Philosopher Martin Buber articulated this notion through his concept of the ethau relationship, which emphasizes genuine dialogue and mutual acknowledgement. In such relationships, individuals engage authentically, transcending mere objectification to recognize each other's humanity. But can we truly engage in ethau connections when confronted with deeply entrenched differences? Contrast this with the utilitarian perspective, championed by philosophers like Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill, which posits that the ethical value of an action hinges on its consequences for the majority. From this viewpoint, empathy may be reduced to a calculative exercise. Do we feel for others based on the larger good it serves? Does this not risk diluting the very essence of empathy, transforming deep emotional connection into a mechanistic evaluation of outcomes? In contemporary society, we witness the struggle between these perspectives daily. Social media platforms, designed for connection, often amplify polarized views, creating echo chambers that reinforce our existing beliefs. The dialogue we desire becomes choked by the noise of outrage, making it challenging to empathize with those who perceive the world differently. Empathy, then, becomes not merely a personal challenge, but a societal one. Yet the relevance of empathy remains undeniable. Consider how movements for justice, such as the fight against racial inequality or climate activism, often thrive on the impulse to understand experiences that differ from our own. Activists harness storytelling not only to communicate their struggles, but also to invite listeners into their emotional worlds. The act of sharing, of walking a mile in another's shoes, serves as a bridge over chasms of misunderstanding. As we ponder this dilemma, we recognize that the cultivation of empathy is a continuous journey rather than a destination. It's not merely about recognizing another's struggle, but examining our own biases and willingness to listen. The challenge lies in embracing the discomfort that can arise from confronting opposing viewpoints. To connect across differences is to navigate a labyrinth where emotions are raw, and understanding is both fragile and profound. And so we find ourselves lingering at the edges of this inquiry. Can we cultivate genuine empathy in an age of division? How can we foster conversations that honor both our unique perspectives and our shared humanity? Perhaps the most important question we can ask is not how to dissolve differences, but how to engage with them. How to share a moment like the one in the cafe, not with judgment, but with an open heart, inviting deeper understanding into our lives. The journey of empathy invites us all to reflect on our connections, leaving us with more questions than answers, and a willingness to explore the heart of what it means to be human together. The universe and our place in it. Are we alone? Imagine standing under a star-filled sky, each twinkle a distant reminder of the vastness of the universe. You take a deep breath, contemplating the enormity of space and time. Within it, countless galaxies swirl, each hosting billions of stars, planets, and potentially even life. Yet here we are, tiny specks on a modest planet, grappling with the profound question, are we truly alone? This scenario invites us to delve into one of the most tantalizing philosophical dilemmas, the existence of extraterrestrial life, and what it means for our understanding of humanity's place in the cosmos. Throughout history, thinkers have pondered this question from various perspectives, each revealing layers of existential significance. Arthur C. Clarke once mused about the cosmos, suggesting that the vastness of it would imply the existence of other intelligent life forms. In contrast, the Fermi paradox starkly reminds us of the discord between the high probability of extraterrestrial civilizations and the lack of evidence for or contact with such beings. Where, one might wonder, are they? Are we alone in our thoughts, dreams, and fears? Or is there indeed a broader tapestry of intelligence woven throughout the universe? This philosophical inquiry resonates deeply with our modern lives. Consider the implications of discovering alien life. If we encountered beings with different customs, values, and forms, it could challenge our preconceptions about life itself and our unique significance in this universe. Such a revelation might echo the work of philosophers like Immanuel Kant, who believed that understanding ourselves and our moral framework is essential to understanding the universe around us. If beings exist who possess their own moral and ethical codes, what does that say about the foundations of our own values? Yet, while some envision a cosmic fraternity, others harbor concerns about potential consequences. The thoughts of existential risk arise, fueled by fears of what contact might mean for our civilization. Would such encounters enhance our understanding, or would they evoke destruction? A premise echoed by thinkers like Carl Sagan, who cautioned against the potential dangers of inviting the unknown. Another perspective draws upon the idea of solipsism, the belief that only one's mind is sure to exist. If we grapple with the thought that we might be isolated in a vast universe, how does that influence our relationships with one another? This connection to isolation extends into our human experience, especially in a world where loneliness is prevalent. Are we then redefining our existence through this lens of potential isolation, or does the notion of a connected universe ultimately weave a thread of hope and unity? As we contemplate our solitary position amidst the stars, we find ourselves asking even broader questions. What defines intelligence? What constitutes life? These reflections push us towards deeper existential territory. Thinkers such as Alan Watts suggested that understanding our place could catalyze a more profound appreciation for existence itself, urging us to cherish the preciousness of our own lives. In closing, as you stand again beneath that infinite canopy of stars, allow yourself to dwell on these lingering thoughts. Are we truly alone, or is the universe filled with unsolved mysteries? The question itself may remain unanswered, whispering hints of possibility and wonder as we explore the profound implications of our existence in this grand tapestry. Each moment of contemplation is an invitation to connect not only with the cosmos but also with the depth of our own humanity. The cycle of life. How does mortality affect our choices? Imagine a young woman, Sarah, standing at a crossroads in her life, overwhelmed with choices that could shape her future. As she contemplates pursuing her passion for art or securing a stable corporate job, an unsettling thought crosses her mind. What if this is her only chance to truly live? The realization of her mortality looms over her decisions like a shadow, forcing her to question not only what she wants to do, but also who she wants to become. This is the essence of the philosophical exploration of mortality and choice. How does the awareness of our finite existence shape our decisions, our values, and ultimately our lives? Existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre argued that the knowledge of our impending death imbues life with meaning. Sartre famously proclaims that we are condemned to be free, meaning that we must make choices in a world that inherently has no predetermined purpose. This freedom, however, comes with the weight of responsibility. The choices we make become reflections of our true selves. In stark contrast, some Stoic philosophers, such as Marcus Aurelius, suggest an acceptance of mortality as a path to tranquility. To live with the understanding that death is an inevitable part of the human experience, the Stoics would say, allows us to remain focused on what truly matters. For them, it is the quality of our actions, rather than the quantity of our days, that defines a life well lived. Aurelius wrote of seeing death as a natural process, reminding himself that to live virtuously is to ensure that when death comes, we meet it without fear or regret. Modern life often complicates our relationship with mortality. In a world where youth is celebrated and death feels distant, many of us avoid thinking about these profound realities. Our choices often lean towards immediate gratification, suggesting a disconnection from the wisdom of both the Stoics and existentialists. We chase careers, possessions, and pleasures, all while avoiding the deeper question, does this choice reflect the life I wish to lead? Yet there are moments, often triggered by personal loss or adversity, that compel us to confront this dilemma head-on. Consider those who find purpose after losing a loved one. They might choose to make every day meaningful, to engage in efforts that honor the memory of those they've lost. Mortality, in this sense, becomes a powerful catalyst for change, prompting individuals to seek fulfillment in the fleeting moments they have left. How can we relate this to our own lives? Every experience of joy or sorrow, every choice we make, is a reminder of our temporal nature. Facing this truth can inspire us to live more authentically, to prioritize what genuinely resonates with our values and desires. In doing so, we carve out a legacy that, even in the shadow of death, can illuminate the lives of others. As we quietly reflect on Sarah's journey at that crossroads, take a moment to ponder, how do you navigate your own choices in light of your mortality? What decisions will you prioritize to ensure that your life reflects the essence of who you are? Mortality invites vulnerability and honesty, an ongoing conversation with ourselves about what it means to live fully, even as we face the inevitable. And so, we are left with this poignant question. If life is a series of choices framed by the certainty of our end, how might we embrace our freedom to define meaning in each moment? Imagination versus reality. What's more valuable? Imagine a quaint little village where every resident nurtures the extraordinary gift of imagination. They share vivid dreams of fantastical landscapes, each telling tales of wonder that transport listeners to worlds beyond their own. Yet outside the village lies a stark reality, a world riddled with challenges, its beauty often obscured by hardship and struggle. As you wander between these two realms, a lingering question arises. What holds more value, our imaginative visions or the concrete world we inhabit? This dilemma has captivated thinkers throughout history. On one side, the philosopher Immanuel Kant viewed imagination as essential for understanding reality. For Kant, imagination allows us to form concepts and comprehend the world, weaving together our sensory experiences into coherent narratives. Here, imagination is not merely a fantastical escape, but a vehicle through which we engage with reality, a means to bring structure to our chaotic experiences. In contrast, Friedrich Nietzsche posited a more provocative stance. He argued that imagination could often serve as a lens through which we distort reality, suggesting that our dreams and aspirations can lead us astray. In a world where we focus too heavily on what could be, a utopia, perhaps, he warned that we might neglect the value of our present circumstances. For Nietzsche, embracing our actual flawed existence is vital. It grounds us in authenticity, urging us to confront our struggles head-on, rather than retreating into the safety of our imaginings. Yet, modern life often finds us grappling with this tension. In a society consumed by social media, the line between imagination and reality blurs even further. We curate shining images of our lives, embellishing our narratives to create a more palatable, appealing version of ourselves. This raises profound questions about authenticity. Are we living our reality, or are we merely indulging in a carefully constructed dream? Influenced by Nietzsche, we may ask whether, in doing so, we lose the richness of genuine connection with the world as it is. Conversely, there exists a powerful argument for the value of imagination in fostering hope and resilience. The writer Maya Angelou once said, "You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have." This perspective highlights how imagination acts as a catalyst for change, instilling in us a sense of possibility. In times of distress, it can envision brighter futures, driving social movements and inspiring innovation. Without this imaginative force, the struggle against the status quo may lose its momentum, stifled by the relentless weight of reality. Consider the consequences of neglecting imagination. In an age marked by existential threats, climate change, social injustice, merely accepting the harshness of our reality can lead to despair. When we allow imagination to flourish alongside reality, we create space for hope, motivation, and ultimately, progress. As we reflect on the delicate dance between imagination and reality, we find ourselves standing at a crossroads. which holds more value in our lives? Is it the vibrant visions that inspire us to dream, or is it the grounded presence of the world as it is, with all its imperfections? Perhaps the true essence of this dilemma lies not in choosing one over the other, but in acknowledging the interdependence of the two. With both imagination and reality entwined in a harmonious existence, we may find pathways to not only embrace our current conditions, but also to envision a brighter tomorrow. And as we continue this journey of reflection, we invite you to consider, where do you see this balance in your own life? An endless source of contemplation awaits as we wander further into the realms of imagination and reality. Overcoming adversity, what resilience teaches us about life. Imagine a young tree, bent and battered by relentless winds. Each storm threatens to uproot it, yet it remains standing, its branches swaying but never breaking. In the heart of this seemingly fragile organism lies a profound resilience, an ability to withstand trials that challenge its very existence. So what does this teach us about resilience and ultimately about life itself? Resilience is often viewed as a personal quality, a strength that allows us to bounce back from adversity. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche famously proclaimed, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." This notion suggests that through hardship, we not only endure but grow, evolving into more robust versions of ourselves. Nietzsche's idea, however, also raises a complex question. Is resilience merely a response to suffering, or does it serve a deeper purpose in our journey through life? Contrasting Nietzsche, the existentialist Jean-Paul Sartre offers a different lens. He argues that existence precedes essence. We create our own meaning in a world often devoid of it. For Sartre, resilience manifests not in overcoming suffering, but in confronting the absurdity of existence itself. In navigating through life's challenges, we continually define ourselves by our choices, reaffirming our freedom in each moment of adversity. This perspective invites us to reflect. Does resilience lie in the ability to endure, or in the conscious act of choosing how we respond to our circumstances? Modern life is rife with challenges that test our resilience, be it personal tragedies, societal pressures, or existential uncertainties. Consider the global pandemic, which forced many to reevaluate their lives and relationships. In the face of this collective trauma, some found strength in community, while others succumbed to despair. Here, resilience appeared not just as individual fortitude, but as a shared human experience, urging us to lean on one another even as we grapple with our solitary struggles. Yet, in our quest for resilience, we might ponder, is there a cost to this relentless drive to overcome? Psychologist Brené Brown, known for her work on vulnerability, suggests that embracing vulnerability may be the first step toward true resilience. Rather than hiding our struggles or wearing our toughness as a badge, admitting our pain and fear might be the path to genuine strength. In this light, resilience becomes less about relentless perseverance and more about the courage to face our emotions, to accept our imperfections. As we ponder resilience, it is essential to confront a disquieting truth. Not all suffering leads to growth. The philosopher Albert Camus, in his exploration of the absurd, reminds us that some struggles may seem inherently unjust, devoid of redemptive purpose. The resilience we cultivate, then, is not about finding meaning in suffering, but about recognizing our capacity to endure despite its apparent lack of reason. At the heart of this reflection lies an open-ended inquiry. What if resilience is not an endpoint, but a continuous journey, marked by both struggle and serenity? As you navigate your path, consider how moments of adversity have shaped your understanding of life. Perhaps the essence of resilience lies not in the absence of hardship, but in our ability to weave together our experiences, both joyous and painful, into a tapestry that reflects the complexity of our existence. In this ongoing quest for meaning, may we find solace in the shared human experience, nurturing a resilience that not only withstands adversity, but transforms it into a catalyst for deeper connection and understanding. The influence of art. How does art reflect and shape society? Imagine a bustling city street. A mural sprawling across a concrete wall captures vibrant tales of resilience, struggle, and hope. People stop to gaze, their emotions stirred, conversations ignited. Does that mural merely reflect the world it inhabits, or does it play a role in shaping the very fabric of society? This question beckons us into the intricate relationship between art and society, weaving a narrative that is both reflective and profound. At the heart of this exploration lies the delicate balance between reflection and construction. Art, in all its forms, often serves as a mirror to the society from which it springs. It documents our collective experiences, the joys, the sorrows, the injustices, and the celebrations. Philosophers like Hegel posited that art embodies the spirit of the age, capturing the zeitgeist and allowing us to examine our cultural consciousness. From the powerful protest songs of the civil rights movement to the poignant literature of wars, art holds a mirror to the societal dynamics at play, inviting us to reflect. Yet art does not only reflect, it shapes. In her work, feminist theorist Simone de Beauvoir argued that representation is foundational to liberation. By presenting narratives that challenge the status quo, art can inspire change and provoke critical thought. Consider the writings of authors like Toni Morrison or the powerful imagery of Banksy's street art. Each piece not only reflects societal issues, but actively contributes to reshaping public perception and dialogue, urging us to reevaluate our assumptions. This dual nature prompts contrasting philosophies. On one hand, we have the perspective of social constructivism, whereby art is seen as a tool that provides the framework through which societal norms are formed and modified. Conversely, aesthetic theorists such as Immanuel Kant suggest that art exists in a realm removed from practical concerns, expressing an intrinsic human experience rather than a utilitarian function. To Kant, the beauty found in art invokes a reflective judgment that connects us deeply to our shared humanity, independent of societal narratives. Yet, as we traverse through this philosophical landscape, a poignant question arises. In a rapidly changing world, is art merely a product of societal influences, or can it transcend these bounds? Contemporary artists often grapple with urgent global issues, from climate change to social justice, seeking to forge connections that resonate beyond temporal confines. In such cases, art becomes a catalyst, igniting movements and shaping cultural narratives, pushing society toward a collective consciousness. Think of the powerful impact of film in mobilizing public opinion on climate change. Documentaries like An Inconvenient Truth not only showcase the scientific evidence, but evoke emotional responses that can shift societal attitudes. Similarly, street art, often bypassing traditional channels, captivates urban populations, imploring them to reconsider their role in the community. As we reflect on our own experiences with art, it becomes clear that this relationship is a dialogue, not a monologue. Art influences us as much as we influence it. In this interactive communion, art transcends mere representation, inviting us to explore values, challenge norms, and envision new possibilities. Ultimately, the influence of art on society remains an open-ended inquiry. How have recent works of art shaped your understanding of the world around you? In what ways do you believe art can induce change? As you ponder these questions, consider the pulse of creativity surrounding you. Just as art reflects, it continues to beckon us forward into new realms of thought and feeling, urging us to participate in the ever-evolving tapestry of existence. The role of rituals. Why do we need them in our lives? Imagine a moment in time when everything comes to a standstill. It's early morning, and as the sun peeks over the horizon, a lone figure stands before a flickering candle, eyes closed, hands clasped in silence. This daily ritual, perhaps rooted in a tradition passed down through generations, serves as a moment of reflection amidst life's chaos. But as we engage with such practices, we are faced with a profound question. Why do we feel the need for rituals in our lives? Rituals have anchored human existence for millennia, and yet their role is often contested. On one hand, they seem comforting, acting as familiar signposts on the journey of life. Anthropologists like Victor Turner have argued that rituals create a sense of community and belonging, facilitating a transitional space where individuals can connect on a deeper level. In these communal practices, we find an affirmation of shared values and beliefs, a recognition of our humanity amidst diversity. Philosophers such as Emile Durkheim have posited that rituals serve a social function, reinforcing the collective identity of a group. Through shared activities, be it a wedding, a religious service, or even a simple family dinner, we express our values, forge connections, and cultivate a sense of belonging. In this way, rituals are not just actions, they carry meaning, transforming mere moments into significant experiences. Yet as we embrace the comforting embrace of rituals, we may also find ourselves questioning their necessity. Existentialist thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre challenge us to consider the absurdity of life. If existence precedes essence, why do we cling to these oft-repeated actions? Might they be mere distractions from the inherent chaos and unpredictability of our lives? Would true authenticity lie in embracing our freedom to create meaning in a world devoid of predefined structures? In the modern age, the relevance of rituals takes on new dimensions. As we navigate a fast-paced society filled with incessant notifications and fleeting interactions, the need for grounding practices becomes increasingly evident. The act of lighting a candle, sharing a meal, or observing a moment of silence allows us to slow down and engage with the present. In this sense, rituals can serve as a form of mindfulness, anchoring us in the moment and fostering emotional resilience. Yet we must consider the implications of rituals that, while intended to provide comfort, may inadvertently become sources of division. Cultural appropriation, for instance, can lead to the commodification of sacred practices, stripping them of their original significance. This raises ethical questions about the authenticity of our engagement with rituals and the relationships we cultivate with traditions that aren't our own. In our quest to understand the role of rituals in our lives, we unearth a delicate balance between the desire for connection and the urge for authenticity. Do we need rituals to navigate the complexities of existence, or do they simply serve as placeholders for deeper, unarticulated needs? Perhaps the truth lies in the interplay of these perspectives. Rituals may not only anchor us to our identities, but also challenge us to break free from conventional narratives. As you reflect on your own rituals, consider their origin, their purpose, and their impact on your life. Are they merely customs, or are they deeply entrenched in your understanding of self and community? The path remains open, inviting you to explore the profound connection between rituals and the very essence of what it means to be human. In a world as intricate as ours, the search for meaning, even amidst the mundane, may lead us to the depths of our own existence. The pursuit of simplicity can less be truly more. Imagine a cozy room filled with sunlight filtering through sheer curtains. Scattered about are remnants of a life lived deeply, a worn book on philosophy, a small potted plant, perhaps a modest painting on the wall. The air feels light, the clutter is minimal, and each object seems to hold a story. Now picture another room, bursting with belongings, gadgets, ornaments, furniture. Though it may appear vibrant, it also conveys a sense of chaos, a frantic energy that drains rather than uplifts. In this juxtaposition, we stumble upon a philosophical conundrum. Can less truly be more in our lives? At the heart of this dilemma lies the pursuit of simplicity, a concept echoed through the ages. The ancient philosopher Epicurus embraced a form of minimalism, advocating that genuine happiness comes not from material excess, but from appreciating the simple pleasures of life: friends, nature, tranquility. He posited that the fewer desires we entertain, the less suffering we endure. Yet, in our modern world, where consumer culture thrives and success is often measured by accumulation, Epicurus's wisdom feels increasingly alien. Contrast this with the pragmatic musings of Friedrich Nietzsche, who viewed complexity and struggle as inherent to life's meaning. For Nietzsche, the pursuit of more knowledge, more experience, more intensity, can lead to the development of the self. Is richness of experience in its complexity truly opposed to simplicity? Can one engage deeply with life yet still find space for simplicity amidst the chaos? These questions whisper to us, inviting reflection on our values and desires. In contemporary discussions, the minimalist movement offers an intriguing examination of this topic. Advocates speak of decluttering not just physical spaces but also mental landscapes. Reducing possessions is viewed as a pathway to find clarity and purpose. The rise of Marie Kondo, who encourages individuals to keep only what sparks joy, demonstrates a growing recognition of the stress generated by excess. Yet, what is joy? Is it a fleeting sensation, or is it a deeper connection with the essence of our lives and surroundings? As we navigate daily life, numerous choices bombard us, often leading to decision fatigue. The overwhelming options create a paradox of choice, wherein having too many choices can lead to anxiety and dissatisfaction rather than liberation. Soren Kierkegaard's existential thoughts remind us that freedom bears responsibility. Thus, with fewer distractions, we might lean into introspection, engaging with profound questions about our existence and purpose. Yet, simplicity does not come without its challenges. Is there danger in oversimplifying our identities or experiences? Jean-Paul Sartre's existential philosophy highlights the importance of authenticity, creating oneself through choices, which inherently includes embracing complexity. Can we then honor our multifaceted human experience while still striving to embrace simplicity? In the end, this contemplation of simplicity versus complexity reflects our deepest values and aspirations. As we sift through the layers of our lives, we might begin to unearth what truly matters. Is it the calm clarity of fewer possessions, or the rich tapestry of experiences that shape our identities? Could it be that we need both simplicity and complexity, like two sides of a coin? In exploring whether less can be more, let us carry this inquiry with us into our daily lives, remaining open to the answers that may emerge, wondering always how the choices we make shape both our inner and outer worlds. The complexity of morality, what shapes our sense of right and wrong? Imagine a time when you were faced with a difficult decision. A friend asks you to lie on their behalf to shield them from consequences they deserve. In that moment, a flurry of considerations races through your mind. Should you protect your friend or uphold honesty? What is the right choice? This scenario highlights the complexity of morality and invites us to reflect on the tapestry of influences that shape our sense of right and wrong. At the heart of moral decision-making lies the question: what truly defines our ethical beliefs? Is morality an absolute set of rules, or is it fluid and shaped by our experiences? Philosophers have grappled with this dilemma for centuries, offering varied perspectives that illuminate different aspects of morality. One of the most notable frameworks comes from Immanuel Kant, who championed deontological ethics. Kant posited that moral actions should be guided by universal principles, regardless of the consequences. His categorical imperative urges us to act only according to that maxim which we can will to become a universal law. In Kant's view, lying is inherently wrong, regardless of the situation. This strict adherence to principles offers a clear, unwavering guide to morality, yet it doesn't account for the nuances of individual circumstances. In contrast, John Stuart Mill's utilitarianism suggests a more flexible approach. Mill argued that the morality of an action hinges on its outcomes, advocating for the greatest happiness for the greatest number. From this perspective, lying to protect your friend may be justifiable if it leads to a better overall outcome. Yet, a life wholly governed by the pursuit of happiness can sometimes lead to moral dilemmas, where the ends justify the means, but at what cost to integrity and trust? Further complicating our understanding of morality are socio-cultural influences. Each of us carries a unique background. Our upbringing, traditions, and societal norms all intertwine shaping our moral compass. What one culture deems acceptable, another may fiercely oppose. This relativity often breeds tension, particularly in an increasingly globalized world where diverse perspectives collide. However, moral development is not stagnant. It evolves with personal growth and lifelong learning. Lawrence Kohlberg's stages of moral development illustrate this progression, from a focus on obedience and punishment to the pursuit of universal ethical principles. Reflecting on our decisions, like the friend who asks for a lie, reveals the layers of thought and emotion we navigate, influenced by personal experiences and societal expectations. Today, this exploration of morality resonates deeply with contemporary issues. Consider climate change, social justice movements, and ethical consumerism. Each issue compels us to confront our moral beliefs and take a stand. Yet as we engage with these dilemmas, the question remains: is our moral compass guided by our principles, the consequences of our actions, or the values instilled in us by society? As we journey through such complexities, perhaps the most enlightening realization is that morality may never yield clear-cut answers. The interplay of reason, emotion, and context creates a rich tapestry of moral inquiry, inviting us to engage in ongoing reflection. In this ever-evolving landscape, we are challenged not to seek definitive conclusions, but to embrace the questions and uncertainties that deepen our understanding of what it means to navigate the winding paths of right and wrong. Legacy. What will you leave behind? Imagine a moment within your life when you sit quietly, reflecting on the sands of time slipping through your fingers. You may picture your children, your friends, and your community gathering after you are gone, each carrying their own memories and interpretations of your existence. What will they remember? What stories will they tell? The profound question of legacy asks not only what we leave behind in terms of material possessions, but also the impact, influence, and meaning of our lives in the hearts and minds of others. The notion of legacy provokes contemplations on mortality and existence that have echoed throughout the history of philosophy. In ancient times, Socrates famously claimed that the unexamined life is not worth living. This serves as a gentle reminder that a life spent solely in pursuit of material gain may leave little no meaningful legacy. Instead, the Socratic wisdom nudges us towards a life of introspection, virtue, and connection. But how do we discern what truly holds lasting value? Perhaps our legacies lie not just in grand achievements, but in the small daily acts of kindness that ripple through the lives of those we touch. Contrasting perspectives arise in the works of philosophers like Nietzsche, who proposed that legacy could be seen as an amor fati, a love of one's fate. He encouraged individuals to embrace their existence and carve out their identities through the experiences they create. To him, the idea of legacy isn't something to be obsessively planned, but rather something that unfolds naturally through living authentically and with passion. In this light, legacy emerges not from adherence to societal expectations, but from the courage to live one's truth. Yet modern life often complicates these reflections. In a world hyper-focused on achievements and status, the desire to create a significant legacy may lead us to chase external validation. The narratives we construct about ourselves in social media posts or career milestones often mask our deeper need for connection and love. It raises a poignant question: does one's digital footprint reflect a true legacy, or does it merely simulate depth while leaving the essential emotional ties unformed? Moreover, as technology continues to evolve, the nature of legacy takes on new dimensions. In an age of rapid change, influencers and creatives often worry about the fleeting nature of fame and recognition. Will their contributions stand the test of time or dissolve into the noise? Here lies a tension. What weighs more, the stark reality of belonging to a global community or the intimate personal relationships cultivated with the people we love? As we ponder these dilemmas, consider how your actions today may weave the fabric of what you will leave behind. Will you engage in your community, impart wisdom to the younger generations, or strive to foster understanding and compassion? The answers may be as diverse as the lives we lead, moving beyond a singular idea of legacy into a tapestry of interactions, influences, and the love we shared. In the end, contemplating your legacy may lead you to confront the most essential question of all: what does it mean to lead a meaningful life? As we reflect on our presence here, we can sense that the journey matters as much, if not more, than the destination. Perhaps what you leave behind is the wisdom you instilled in others, the laughter shared, and the love you radiated. The pursuit of understanding your legacy is not a destination, but an ongoing exploration. An invitation for us all to reflect on what truly matters, without the promise of a definitive answer. The beauty of impermanence. How can we appreciate the fleeting? Imagine standing in a quiet meadow at dusk as the sun sinks below the horizon. You gaze at the vibrant colors painting the sky, each moment more exquisite than the last, yet undeniably ephemeral. As soon as you recognize their beauty, those hues begin to fade, reminding you that nothing lasts forever. This fleeting nature of beauty invites us to ponder a profound philosophical question. How can we truly appreciate the ephemeral moments of our lives, knowing they will inevitably vanish? This inquiry takes us deep into the heart of impermanence. Philosophers like Heraclitus emphasize that change is the only constant in life. You cannot step into the same river twice, he asserted, highlighting the transitory essence of existence. The river, much like life itself, is in a perpetual state of flux. In our modern world, however, where the desire for stability often overshadows the acceptance of change, we might find ourselves struggling with this notion. How do we embrace the fleeting without falling into despair over our inability to hold on to it? Consider the Eastern philosophy of Buddhism, which teaches that attachment is the root of suffering. The idea of anicca, or impermanence, is central to this worldview. To acknowledge that all things, including our most cherished moments, are subject to change can initially provoke fear. Yet paradoxically, it also offers profound freedom. When we recognize that nothing is permanent, we may choose to savor each moment with even greater intensity. This exquisite tension between desire and acceptance initiates a deeper understanding of what it means to live fully. In contrast, Western philosophies, particularly existentialism, echo similar sentiments but through a different lens. Thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Martin Heidegger explored the importance of our fleeting existence and the inevitability of death. They urged us to confront the absurdity of life and find meaning in our limited time. Sartre's call to introspection encourages us to cherish the transient, to become fully aware that each breath, each love, each experience is a finite gift we can choose to embrace. In doing so, we may discover a richer appreciation for the beauty around us. Yet, isn't this pursuit a double-edged sword? There is an inherent tension in our desire to hold on to moments, whether it's a sunset, a cherished conversation, or a loving embrace. We may cling tightly, fearing that if we let go, we might lose something vital. However, the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius encourages us to accept that everything we hold dear can fade. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it, he wrote, hinting at the transformative power of perspective. In contemporary society, we often rush through life, documenting fleeting moments through photos, vowing to capture their essence. But does the act of recording truly preserve them? Or does it, in some way, dilute our capacity to experience these moments fully? In a world dominated by social media, we may find ourselves curating an idealized version of our lives, while the beauty of genuine, unfiltered experiences eludes us. As we ponder the beauty of impermanence, we may find ourselves standing at a crossroads. Should we resist the passage of time, or should we embrace it, allowing the fleeting to enrich our understanding of joy? Each moment can be both a source of sorrow and a celebration of existence. So I invite you into this delicate dance of life, where we reflect, breathe, and immerse ourselves in the transient embracing the profound beauty of what it means to be human. How might you choose to honor the fleeting moments in your own life, allowing their impermanence to deepen your appreciation for every breath you take? The nature of anxiety. What is anxiety trying to teach us? Imagine, if you will, standing at the edge of a vast, dark ocean, waves crashing against the shore. The air is heavy with tension, the waves whispering promises of turmoil and uncertainty. You feel an undeniable tightness in your chest, a heaviness that begs a singular question: what is this feeling trying to tell me? This is the essence of anxiety, a complex web of emotions that is often seen as an adversary in our lives, yet may also be our greatest teacher. Philosophically, anxiety can be viewed through many lenses. Existential philosophers like Søren Kierkegaard deemed anxiety as an essential part of the human experience, a companion in our journey toward authenticity. He suggested that anxiety stems from the struggle for identity and meaning, revealing our deep-seated fears about choice and consequence. In this light, anxiety is not merely a signal of distress. It serves as a reminder of the freedom we possess to shape our existence. Each anxious thought may point to an area in our lives where we feel ungrounded or unfulfilled, urging us to confront issues we might otherwise avoid. On the other hand, consider the Stoic perspective, articulated by thinkers such as Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius. For the Stoics, anxiety represents a misunderstanding of what is within our control and what is not. The Stoics urged us to focus solely on our responses to external events rather than the events themselves. Anxiety, then, can be seen as a misalignment between our expectations and the reality we encounter. When we feel anxious, it encourages us to reassess our priorities and recognize that perhaps we are grappling with things that lie beyond our sphere of influence. By understanding this, we can mitigate much of our internal turmoil, transforming anxiety from a source of suffering into a catalyst for personal growth. In our modern lives, anxiety significantly resonates. With the incessant pace of information and the pressure to perform, individuals often find themselves ensnared in a fast-flowing current of existential dread, fearing judgment, inadequacy, and uncertainty. This creates a paradox. We might perceive anxiety as a burden, yet it can prompt reflective introspection. When we pause to listen to our anxieties, we may uncover insightful truths about our desires, relationships, and paths forward. Consider the societal narrative around mental health today, where anxiety is increasingly recognized, challenged, and studied. It serves as an invitation for people to engage in self-exploration and vulnerability. In this way, anxiety acts as a bridge between the personal and the communal. By sharing anxiety's lessons, individuals foster a collective understanding of our shared struggles, empowering us to confront the societal pressures and expectations that may contribute to our distress. Yet even with so many interpretations, one must wonder, does anxiety truly have a definitive purpose? Can it ever dissolve into mere illusion rather than impart wisdom? As we navigate the complexities of our feelings, we are left with several questions. Are we meant to conquer anxiety, or should we coexist with it? Is it a natural part of life's experience, or a construct of our modern world? The answers may be as varied as the individuals grappling with these emotions. As you reflect on your own relationship with anxiety, consider this. What lessons might it hold for you today? Could it be prompting you to act, or perhaps even to pause and reflect? The journey with anxiety is as intricate as the soul itself, a nuanced dance that leaves us continuously pondering its mysteries. So let us remain curious and open, for in this exploration may lie the key to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Perception of beauty. Is beauty really in the eye of the beholder? Imagine standing before a masterpiece, a painting that leaves you captivated, your heart swelling with emotion. Yet beside you a friend looks perplexed, scrunching their face in confusion. What you perceive as breathtaking beauty feels dull and uninspiring to someone else. This moment encapsulates a profound philosophical dilemma. Is beauty a universal truth, or is it truly in the eye of the beholder? Throughout history, philosophers have wrestled with the nature of beauty. The ancient Greeks, particularly Plato, posited that beauty is an objective ideal, an unchanging form that transcends individual perception. For Plato, the beauty of a thing links directly to its truth. To appreciate beauty is to grasp a deeper reality. In contrast, the eminent philosopher David Hume introduced a more subjective perspective, suggesting that beauty exists only in the mind of the observer. He famously articulated that the perceptions of beauty could not exist independently of us. Each viewer brings their own feelings, biases, and experiences that shape their understanding of beauty. This tension between objectivity and subjectivity about beauty persists in our contemporary lives. Take, for example, the world of art. A contemporary installation might perplex some, while others experience transformations of spirit upon viewing it. Consider the widespread debate over what constitutes beautiful music across genres. Classical composers like Bach evoke intricate emotions through complex harmonies, while modern genres challenge traditional notions and configuration of beauty in sound. What resonates with you might leave someone else untouched. This complexity suggests that beauty is influenced deeply by cultural context, personal experiences, and even social conditioning. Some perspectives highlight how societal standards shape our understandings of beauty. Think of the beauty norms that vary wildly from one culture to another, or the evolving standards of fashion and desirability. Philosophical explorations like those by Immanuel Kant complicate the conversation further, positing that while judgments of taste are subjective, we nonetheless seem to collectively agree on certain aesthetic judgments. Is there an inherent beauty in symmetry and harmony, or is it shaped merely by the consensus of our shared experiences? Now consider modern phenomena such as social media platforms where images are meticulously curated, often leading to curated perceptions of beauty. Here one might ponder, are we losing our individual perspectives in pursuit of an ideal that may not resonate with our authentic selves? This invites a deeper inquiry. Perhaps in our quest to understand beauty, we must not only look outward, but also inward to reconnect with our unique perceptions and values. As we navigate through differing taste, cultural impressions, and philosophical reflections, we return to the question, Is beauty an absolute, discoverable quality embedded in the universe, or does it reside merely within our subjective experiences? Beauty may indeed be a kaleidoscope, shifting in color and form, influenced by the light of our thoughts and feelings. In the end, the very essence of beauty keeps us contemplating, observing, and engaging with the world. It remains an invitation to continuously reflect on our perceptions, to explore what moves us, and to appreciate the rich tapestry of perspectives surrounding us. Perhaps the journey toward understanding beauty is less about finding definitive answers and more about embracing the myriad interpretations that color our existence. What do you find beautiful, and how does that shape your view of the world? Isolation in modern society. How do we combat loneliness? Imagine a bustling city, crowded with people absorbed in their screens, each seemingly connected yet profoundly alone. You might notice someone sitting at a cafe, laughter and chatter surrounding them, yet they stare blankly, lost in thoughts that seem too heavy to share. This scene is all too familiar in our modern lives. We are more connected than ever through technology, yet many experience a pervasive sense of loneliness. It begs the question, how do we combat this isolation that cloaks our society? At the heart of the issue lies an intriguing philosophical dilemma regarding the nature of connection. Is human interaction only a matter of physical presence, or does it require a deeper emotional engagement? The existentialist philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre famously declared, "Hell is other people," suggesting that our interactions are a source of conflict and discomfort. Yet, can we not also see other people as a source of solace, laughter, and understanding? Contemporary philosopher Alain de Botton proposes that our need for community is intrinsic to our nature, and loneliness can often stem from our ability to isolate ourselves emotionally, despite being surrounded by others. This reflects a broader debate between individualism and collectivism in understanding how we relate to each other. In societies that emphasize individual achievement, such as in many Western cultures, the pursuit of personal goals can lead to a neglect of communal bonds. In contrast, collectivist cultures often prioritize relationships and shared values, suggesting that a sense of belonging is essential for human fulfillment. Yet, even in collectivist settings, the pressure to conform can lead to a different kind of isolation, the feeling of being lost in the crowd. The digital revolution has transformed our means of connection. With social media, we can maintain relationships regardless of geographical distance, but paradoxically, it often highlights our isolation. Philosopher Sherry Turkle suggests that while we appear to be constantly connected, the quality of these connections can be superficial, leading to feelings of emptiness and longing for real intimacy. We trade deep conversations for quick texts, meaningful interactions for hollow likes. In addressing this, one might wonder if the remedy for loneliness lies in embracing our vulnerability by initiating deeper connections, requiring us to move beyond the veil of the like button. Modern society also pushes back against loneliness with initiatives aimed at fostering community. Community gardens, therapy groups, and cultural gatherings are all attempts to combat isolation. Yet these solutions often lack genuine engagement. Are we merely treating symptoms rather than addressing the root causes of loneliness? Perhaps the philosophical perspective of Martin Buber, who emphasized the importance of genuine relationships through his I-thou dialogue, offers insight. Genuine conversations can foster understanding and belonging, creating spaces where individuals feel seen and valued. As we reflect on this dilemma, it becomes evident that combating loneliness requires more than just connection. It demands a culture of empathy, understanding, and authenticity. How do we cultivate spaces where emotional vulnerability is welcomed, where individuals can share their stories and seek comfort? Can we shift our societal focus from individual success to communal well-being, recognizing that our shared humanity binds us? Ultimately, the question of how to combat loneliness remains open-ended. As we navigate an increasingly isolated world, we may find ourselves pondering, in our quest for connection, how can we bring more depth, presence, and compassion into our interactions? In seeking answers, perhaps we can start by turning our attention toward each other, reaching across the gaps created by our modern lives, and inviting the human experience back into our daily encounters. The meaning of home. What makes a place feel like home? Imagine standing on the edge of a vast landscape, sunlight casting long shadows over a familiar hill. You breathe in the scent of fresh grass, the sound of laughter carries on the wind, and a certain warmth envelops you, igniting memories of childhood. What is it that transforms a mere structure, a collection of walls and roof, into something so profoundly comforting we call it home? Is it the physical space itself, or something deeper that connects us to these places? Philosophers have long contemplated the essence of home. Martin Heidegger proposed that our sense of being is intricately tied to the spaces we inhabit, suggesting that to dwell is to be at peace within a place. This dwelling is not just about physicality, but about finding our identity within that space, a theme prominently explored in his work Building, Dwelling, Thinking. For Heidegger, a home is a site of care and familiarity, a sanctuary where one crafts a sense of belonging. Yet contrasting views emerge from different philosophical perspectives. Gaston Bachelard, in his poetic work, The Poetics of Space, invites us to consider how our imaginative projections shape the meaning of home. He emphasizes that a home contains layers of dreams, memories, and aspirations, illustrating that home is formed not only through walls, but through personal experiences and emotional investments. Therefore, it seems home has a duality, a physical space intertwined with emotional resonance. Consider, too, the modern relevance of these reflections. In an increasingly mobile world, many people relocate for work or opportunity, often leaving behind what they once called home. In this context, what does it mean to feel at home in a new city, among new faces? Residency in diverse environments can lead to loneliness as one grapples with cultural shifts and the inherent longing for connection. The philosopher Alain de Botton might argue that true homes are shaped by close relationships and shared stories rather than geographical descriptors. He advocates for the idea that emotional home can be as powerful and essential as physical space. However, it's also crucial to acknowledge the darker side of the concept. For some, home is synonymous with trauma, oppression, or isolation. Philosopher Bell Hooks discusses in her work how the idea of home can evoke conflicting feelings of safety and entrapment, particularly in the context of marginalized identities. The notion that home should be a refuge clashes painfully with the reality that, for many, it can be a place of fear. This multifaceted understanding invites us to scrutinize our own experiences, questioning whether we see our homes as nourishing sanctuaries or as spaces filled with unresolved complexities. As we reflect on what makes a place feel like home, it becomes clear that the implications extend beyond mere shelter. It's a tapestry woven from our relationships, experiences, and the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and where we belong. Ultimately, the search for home may not have a definitive answer. It becomes a personal journey that continuously unfolds throughout our lives. So, where do you find yourself feeling at home? In a person's arms, within your childhood abode, or perhaps in the creative expressions that reflect your essence? This contemplation invites you to explore the nuances of home in your own life, enriching the conversation around belonging and identity as you continue on your thoughtful journey. Economic value versus human worth. What should we prioritize? Imagine a world where a young teacher passionately engages her students, igniting their curiosity and inspiring them to dream. In another corner of the same community stands a successful entrepreneur, generating wealth and opening job opportunities. As society increasingly measures success by economic metrics, we begin to ask an unsettling question. Should we prioritize economic value over human worth? What does it mean to truly value a human life in a world so driven by financial gain? At its core, this dilemma speaks to contrasting philosophies of value. On one side, proponents of classical economics emphasize the importance of market efficiency and financial metrics. Adam Smith's invisible hand suggests that individual pursuit of profit results in collective benefits, leading to the creation of wealth, jobs, and innovation. Yet, as we cherish economic growth and productivity, we must question, does this equation account for the intrinsic worth of individuals? What happens to those who contribute profoundly to society yet lack marketable skills or the ability to generate wealth? In contrast, thinkers like Martha Nussbaum advocate a capabilities approach, arguing that human worth extends beyond economic contributions. Nussbaum contends that a just society invests in the potential of every individual, focusing on enhancing their capabilities, what they are truly able to do and to be. Here, the emphasis shifts from mere economic output to the qualitative experience of being human. It acknowledges joy, creativity, and connection, not simply profit margins or GDP figures. This philosophical clash resonates profoundly today. In communities increasingly stratified by wealth, we witness stories of individuals who provide care, educate, and uplift others without monetary compensation. The stay-at-home parent, the caregiver for elderly relatives, or the volunteer at a local shelter, do these roles hold less value simply because they don't contribute to the economy in quantifiable terms? This leads us to question the narratives we embrace regarding success and worth. Furthermore, consider the notion of essential workers, as unveiled during the recent global crises. It became apparent that many who sustain society, medical professionals, delivery drivers, grocery store workers, often receive lower wages despite their critical roles. This stark contrast between ethical valuation and economic remuneration highlights a profound disconnect. When the market fails to truly reflect the value of human life and effort, we must consider whether our economic systems are built upon a flawed foundation. The challenge lies in finding balance. How do we create a society that values economic contributions without sacrificing the dignity of human life? Philosophers like John Rawls propose frameworks for distributive justice, urging us to focus on the most disadvantaged members of society, thus advocating policies that prioritize the human experience over raw economic metrics. Ultimately, this inquiry plunges us into deep waters. In a world driven by numbers, where does that leave our humanity? Are we destined to measure worth through the lens of economic value, or can we strive toward a society that celebrates individual contributions beyond mere dollar signs? As we move forward, let us hold space for this ongoing conversation, reflecting not only on the metrics that define success, but also on the richness of human experience, a complexity that transcends the boundaries set by economic calculations. What kind of society do we truly want to shape, and what values will guide that vision? The journey of exploration continues, inviting us to grapple with the very essence of what it means to be human in our ever-evolving world. The complexity of communication. How do our words shape reality? Imagine you find yourself in a bustling marketplace, surrounded by vibrant sounds and colors. As you lean in to listen to two merchants discussing their wares, you notice their words carry weight. They sway opinions, draw customers, and even create bonds of trust or skepticism. In this moment, consider, how powerful are our words? How do they mold our reality, not just in a marketplace, but in our everyday lives? Language is far more than a mere tool for communication. It's a lens through which we interpret our experiences. The philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein suggested that the limits of my language mean the limits of my world. If our words shape our understanding, then what happens when we struggle to find the right expressions? We might feel trapped, confined to a reality that seems too narrow to encompass our thoughts and feelings. This idea leads us to ponder the intricate relationship between language and reality, a philosophical dilemma that dates back to the ancient Greeks and remains relevant today. Consider the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which proposes that the structure of a language influences its speaker's perception and cognition. For instance, speakers of languages that classify colors differently may perceive those colors in unique ways, suggesting that language doesn't just reflect reality, but actively shapes it. Through this lens, our words become more than descriptions. They become the very scaffolding of our experiences. Yet what of those who exist in a world where language is inadequate to express their reality? The silence of the inarticulate can render their experiences invisible, pushing us to confront questions about inclusivity and understanding. The contrast between objectivism and constructivism offers deeper insight. Objectivists like René Descartes hold that truth exists independent of our language, while constructivists, including Michel Foucault, argue that words are tools that construct social realities. If we accept Foucault's perspective, we must grapple with the implications. Our narratives, shaped by societal contexts and power dynamics, shape the world around us. From political rhetoric to social media, words can empower, demean, incite action, or instill fear. Our communication styles not only define personal relationships, but also influence societal structures. In our modern landscape, the role of language has evolved with technology. Consider how tweets can ignite movements or dismantle reputations overnight. They crystallize the idea that words possess a potency that transcends mere expression. This brings us to the question, as our forms of communication expand, do our responsibilities magnify? If one tweet can alter the trajectory of public opinion, are we equipped to handle this power? It challenges us to reflect on both our intention and our impact. Ultimately, as we navigate the complexities of communication, we find ourselves at a crossroad. Are we mere vessels for language, or do we actively shape our environments through the words we choose? The delicate interplay between thought and language prompts us to consider the weight of our expressions and their ripple effects. As we conclude this reflection, let us linger on the question, how can we become more mindful of our words, recognizing their potential to sculpt our shared realities? In a world that often feels fragmented, perhaps the first step toward understanding lies in consciously choosing the language we share. What stories will you tell, and how will they shape the world around you? Mind-body connection. How do we nurture both? Imagine standing at the edge of a serene lake, the surface a perfect mirror reflecting the beauty around you. As you gaze into the water, your thoughts drift to a question many have pondered. What is the relationship between the mind and the body? Are they separate entities, or are they intimately connected, each influencing the other? This dance between thought and being evokes a philosophical inquiry that has flourished through the ages. The mind-body problem delves into the essence of our existence, how our mental states relate to our physical bodies. René Descartes famously posited dualism, suggesting that the mind and body are distinct substances. This perspective leads us to consider whether our thoughts, emotions, and consciousness operate independently of our corporeal existence. Is it possible that if our minds flourish, our bodies will follow suit? Conversely, can physical well-being influence our mental states, leading to happier lives? On the other side of the spectrum lies materialism, championed by philosophers like Thomas Hobbes and more contemporary figures who argue that everything, including the mind, arises from physical processes. Modern neuroscience seems to support this view, showing that thoughts manifest from neurobiological activity. Yet this perspective can lead to a disquieting conclusion. If our minds are merely the byproducts of brain function, what becomes of our sense of self, our emotions, and even our moral choices? Are they then just chemical reactions? As we walk through the labyrinth of these ideas, we come across another compelling approach, the phenomenological perspective, articulated by thinkers like Edmund Husserl and Maurice Merleau-Ponty. They propose that the mind-body connection is not merely a theoretical dilemma, but a lived experience. They ask us to consider how our embodied existence shapes our consciousness, suggesting that to understand our thoughts, we must first engage with our physical selves. The way we experience emotions, joy, anxiety, or despair, often has palpable physical manifestations. A racing heart might signal excitement, while tension in our shoulders suggests stress. In the modern world, this philosophical inquiry finds expression in practices such as mindfulness and somatic therapy. The rise of yoga and meditation acknowledges that nurturing our mental health can indeed influence our physical well-being. Studies have shown that mindfulness not only alleviates anxiety, but also promotes conditions of physical health. It is a vivid illustration of the interdependence between mind and body, a symbiotic relationship that invites us to reflect on how we can cultivate both aspects of ourselves. But just as we consider nurturing the mind-body connection, we must contemplate the implications of neglect. In our fast-paced lives, it is all too easy to become disconnected from our bodies, to prioritize thoughts and ambitions over physical health. This raises an unsettling question. What happens when we live predominantly in our minds, devoid of the wisdom our bodies offer? The balance between mental pursuits and physical care becomes a delicate act, echoing ancient wisdom, a sound mind in a sound body. As we drift back to our serene lake, the reflections become a metaphor for our philosophical journey. How do we nurture both mind and body in harmony? Perhaps, like ripples on the water, there is no singular answer but a continuum of possibilities, each deserving our attention. Might we find solace in exploration, rather than resolution, as we seek ways to unite our thoughts and physical experiences? In this unfolding inquiry, we discover that the mind and body are not competing entities, but vital facets of a singular existence, inviting us to engage, reflect, and ultimately nurture the union between them. Adventure versus routine. Where do we find the balance? Imagine waking up one morning, the sun spilling golden light into your room, and you feel an irresistible urge to escape the ordinary. You could venture out into the world, exploring distant lands, taking risks, diving into the unknown. Yet at the same time, there's a gentle call from the familiar, the comfort of routine, a warm cup of coffee, the predictability of daily rituals, and the solace of home. This tension between adventure and routine presents a profound philosophical dilemma. Where do we find the balance? At the heart of this conflict is a question of fulfillment. Adventure promises excitement, growth, and the thrill of novelty, while routine offers stability, peace, and a sense of belonging. The existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre might argue that the pursuit of adventure is essential for authenticity. To exist fully is to embrace our freedom and make choices that defy expectation. Sartre's famous declaration that existence precedes essence encapsulates the idea that our lives acquire meaning through actions, and in this vein, adventure becomes a canvas for self-definition. Conversely, we must acknowledge the thoughts of philosophers like Aristotle, who believed in the importance of the golden mean. For him, balance was key to a virtuous life. Routine allows for cultivation of health, relationships, and intellectual pursuits, anchoring us amid the chaos of existence. It creates a framework within which our adventurer spirit can flourish, providing the continuity necessary for our dreams to take shape. Consider the modern world, bustling with opportunities for adventure. Travel blogs and social media inspire countless individuals to chase after experiences, from backpacking through exotic locales to trying activities such as skydiving. Yet, amidst this whirlwind, many feel a strange emptiness, an anxiety that arises not from the absence of adventure, but from the fragility of the moment. This phenomenon suggests a collective yearning for something deeper, perhaps rooted in routine, the very rituals that connect us to ourselves and to each other. Life's fragility often becomes apparent when we encounter moments of profound stillness. In the midst of an adventure, one may overlook the delicate beauty of everyday scenes, a child's laughter, the smell of rain, a shared meal with loved ones. Philosopher Martin Heidegger proposed that being is about dwelling in the world, paying attention to the richness of existence itself. Perhaps the value of routine lies in its ability to ground us, reminding us of the beauty contained within the everyday. Yet as we reflect on the importance of routine, let us not forget how adventure can ignite our spirits. It can break the chains of complacency that routine sometimes imposes. Friedrich Nietzsche's concept of amor fati, the love of one's fate, suggests we must embrace both the extraordinary and the mundane. Perhaps true fulfillment arises not from choosing one over the other, but from weaving adventure into the fabric of our daily existence, transforming routine through the lens of novelty. As you sit with this dilemma, consider the spaces in your own life where adventure could infuse your routines with inspiration, and where the comfort of familiarity might encourage you to explore just a bit further. In what ways might you cultivate a life enriched by both adventure and routine? The balance may shift as we journey, but the exploration itself invites endless reflection. What adventures are waiting just beyond the threshold of your everyday life? And in what small routine moments might you discover unexpected treasures? As you ponder these questions, may the balance between adventure and routine guide you toward a more profoundly lived experience. The impact of choices. Are our decisions truly ours? Imagine a young woman standing at a crossroads confronted by two distinct paths. Each choice holds the potential to shape her future, yet she feels an unsettling pressure, as if unseen forces govern her decision. This moment encapsulates a profound philosophical dilemma. Are our choices truly our own, or are they shaped by factors beyond our control, societal influences, genetic predispositions, or even fate itself? As we navigate through life, we often assume we possess free will, that we can make genuine choices. René Descartes famously advocated for the autonomy of the individual mind, asserting that our ability to think distinguishes us from the mechanistic universe. He believed that conscious choice is integral to human experience. Yet, questions arise. If our upbringing, environment, and biological makeup influence our decisions, how free are we really? The philosopher B.F. Skinner argued that behavior is a product of conditioning, a result of the stimuli we encounter throughout our lives. In this view, our decisions are not rooted in free will, but are reactions to both past experiences and current circumstances. If we were to trace the moments leading to our choices, we might find a web of influences knitting together our perceived freedom into a tapestry of inevitable outcomes. This perspective challenges our very understanding of agency and responsibility. On the other hand, existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre champion the concept of radical freedom. Sartre believed that we are condemned to be free, that in every situation we must choose, and that these choices define our essence. He argued that, even in the face of societal pressures and inherited conditions, our capacity to choose remains intact. While he acknowledged the weight of external influences, Sartre insisted that we ultimately bear the responsibility for our decisions. In modern life, the implications of this philosophical debate resonate throughout our daily experiences. Consider the myriad choices we make, from trivial preferences like what to eat for breakfast to significant life decisions such as career paths or relationships. Are these decisions truly ours, or do they reflect the expectations and norms of a society eager to impose direction? Advertisements, social media, and cultural narratives bombard us with subtle coercion, creating the illusion of choice while guiding us toward what is deemed acceptable. This dilemma extends into the realm of moral decision-making, where societal values can conflict with personal beliefs. When faced with ethical dilemmas, such as the decision to speak out against injustice or remain silent for comfort, we navigate a landscape colored by both internal convictions and external expectations. Are we acting authentically, or are we merely conforming to the roles prescribed by society? As we ponder the nature of choice, we are left grappling with the unsettling truth that perhaps our decisions are a blend of both freedom and predetermined influences. The balance between agency and determinism remains elusive, inviting us to reflect deeper. While we may believe we assert autonomy in our choices, the question lingers: are we steering the ship or merely riding the currents? In a world brimming with complexity, the impact of our choices invites contemplation of what it truly means to decide. Perhaps the beauty lies not in finding a definitive answer, but in the ongoing journey of self-discovery. As we embrace our moments of choice, may we remain open to the interplay of freedom and influence that shapes our existence. Ultimately, the essence of our decisions may not be found in asserting ownership over them, but rather in the way they illuminate the paths we take and the lives we lead. The place of faith. Does belief matter in a scientific world? Imagine a scientist standing in a laboratory, examining a series of meticulously collected data points. The results are precise, empirical, and undeniably real. She has spent years developing theories that explain the universe in a language of mathematics and observation. Now consider a poet, penning verses that speak of love, loss, and the incomprehensible nature of existence. Each word is infused with emotion and a deep sense of belief in something greater than the measurable. In this modern age, where science appears to reign supreme, we find ourselves asking, does belief still hold any significance? Can faith coexist with scientific understanding, or are these worlds doomed to remain at odds? Belief often serves as a foundation for meaning, an antidote to the randomness that life can sometimes feel like. Philosophers like Søren Kierkegaard argued that faith is not only compatible with reason, but is often a necessary response to the absurdity of existence. Kierkegaard presented the idea of the leap of faith, suggesting that to believe in something beyond the empirical is to embrace our full humanity, with all its uncertainties and complexities. Conversely, figures like David Hume questioned faith's validity by emphasizing the importance of empirical evidence as the cornerstone of understanding. Hume claimed that beliefs not grounded in observable reality could lead individuals astray, fostering illusions rather than truths. In his view, faith cannot provide a reliable pathway to knowledge, especially in a world increasingly governed by scientific inquiry. Yet, beyond the academic discourse, many of us grapple with these tensions in our daily lives. How often do we encounter moments where science explains the workings of the natural world, yet find ourselves yearning for something more? A mother loses her child, and while medical explanations may elucidate the tragedy, the heart seeks solace beyond raw data. In such moments, faith becomes a sanctuary, a narrative thread that connects us to the unfathomable mysteries of life and love. In today's fast-paced society, where advancements in technology and science propel us forward, the quest for meaning often collides with our rational understanding. The rise of psychological studies on mindfulness and well-being reflects our collective longing for grounding. Research shows time and again that spiritual practices, irrespective of their religious context, contribute positively to mental health. They anchor us amidst chaos, nurturing resilience and providing bridgeways toward empathy, community, and deeper connections. This intersection of faith and scientific reasoning compels us to consider whether these realms could coexist rather than contradict. Perhaps science and faith are two sides of the same coin, seeking truth in different ways. While one path is defined by empirical evidence and skeptical inquiry, the other embraces the unknown, celebrating mystery and interconnection. As we navigate this intricate landscape, we must ask ourselves, what role does belief play in our lives? Is it a vital element that enriches human experience, or is it just an echo of a bygone era where the mysteries of existence were inscribed in the language of gods? This contemplation invites us to reflect deeply on our individual beliefs, opening avenues for ongoing dialogue and exploration. In a world that craves both truth and understanding, can faith, not exclusively in the religious sense, remain a meaningful companion to a scientific worldview? Perhaps this is not a question to be answered, but an invitation to engage with our thoughts and emotions as we seek meaning within the tapestry of existence itself. The evolving self. How do we grow through relationships? Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, each gentle wave a representation of the relationships you've encountered throughout your life. Each wave, unique in its approach, carries with it lessons, joys, and sometimes sorrows. As you watch them ebb and flow, a question arises. How do we grow through these ever-changing connections with others? This reflective journey takes us into the heart of a profound philosophical dilemma: the evolving self. Philosophers throughout history have pondered the relationship between the self and others, exploring how our identities are intertwined with those we encounter. The existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre believed that existence precedes essence, asserting that our identities are shaped by our actions and relationships, emphasizing a constant state of becoming. As such, we are not static entities defined by our pasts, but dynamic beings influenced and enriched by our interactions. In contrast, the Cartesian notion, championed by René Descartes, suggests a solitary self. I think, therefore I am. This perspective centers on individual consciousness, often downplaying the significant impact that relationships have on our identities. What happens when we explore life beyond solitude, where the kaleidoscope of experiences with others becomes equally or more influential? The gaps in Descartes' theory become evident. If our minds and thoughts are deeply interconnected with those around us, can we truly understand ourselves without acknowledging their role? Take a moment to reflect on a significant relationship in your life: a friend, a partner, perhaps a mentor. As time passes, how has this connection altered your worldview? The philosopher Martin Buber articulated this beautifully in his work I and Thou, suggesting that the most meaningful relationships occur when we engage with others as equals, nurturing a sense of mutual understanding. In such moments, we become not just who we are, but who we can be, reflecting qualities we may not have recognized in ourselves before. However, relationships can also lead to struggles that challenge our identities. Think of the paradox of love, where intimacy exposes the vulnerability of our true selves. The psychologist Carl Jung posited that we often project aspects of our own psyche onto others, complicating our relationships but also providing pathways for growth. When we confront these projections, through disagreement, heartbreak, or even joy, we stretch our understanding of who we are and who we might become. In today's fast-paced world, this inquiry into the evolving self remains particularly relevant. Social media has transformed how we connect, often amplifying both our relationships and our reflections. We curate our identities online, yet the depth of our interactions can be fleeting, leaving us to ponder, do these virtual engagements foster genuine growth, or do they simply suspend our evolution, making authenticity a secondary concern? As we navigate through our relationships, we return to that ocean, waves that teach us resilience, empathy, and self-awareness, while also reminding us of the chaos and unpredictability inherent in intimacy. The evolving self embodies the questions that arise through connection. Who am I in this relationship? How do I change? And ultimately, how do I learn from these waves of experience? Perhaps this is the great existential journey we share, a call to continuously reflect on our connections and their impact on our evolving selves. Relationships shape us in ways that cannot be fully articulated or understood at any given moment. They invite us into a dance of existence that is both beautiful and complex, leaving room for deeper contemplation. As you ponder your own evolving self, consider the relationships that shape your journey. After all, the waves keep rolling in, inviting you to ride their currents, endlessly discovering more about who you are. The significance of stories. How do narratives shape our lives? Imagine for a moment a world devoid of stories, a place where history is reduced to mere facts and events, each moment stripped of its richness, its meaning. Can you picture the lives we would lead, wandering through experiences without the guiding threads of narrative? The sheer act of storytelling, whether through the spoken word, literature, or films, encapsulates our deepest fears, hopes, and dreams, weaving a tapestry that sustains our understanding of existence. So how do these narratives truly shape our lives? Consider the views of the noted philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer, who suggested that life behaves much like a narrative, filled with conflict and resolution. In his perspective, stories serve as a reflection of our innermost struggles and desires, providing a framework through which to interpret our own lives. The protagonists and their struggles often mirror our personal experiences, making us question our own narratives as we navigate through life. Each story we encounter echoes our emotions, enriching our existence through the shared human experience. Yet contrasting this view, postmodern thinkers like Jean-François Lyotard argue against the grand narratives that claim to explain our lives entirely. They suggest that while stories are essential, they can also constrain by imposing rigid structures on our individual experiences. What if our lives are but a collection of fragmented stories, each holding its own unique truths? In this light, the significance of narrative becomes even more profound. It allows for multiplicity, inviting us to piece together our fragmented identities. Modern society often reinforces the importance of stories through various mediums. Social media platforms have created new narratives woven into everyday exchanges. We curate our lives as if we are all storytellers, crafting our own mythologies, influencing how we perceive ourselves and how we are perceived by others. But does this construction of identity through narrative enhance our authenticity, or does it dilute it into mere performance? Philosophers like Michel Foucault might suggest that our narratives are shaped not only by our intentions, but also by societal expectations that cast their own interpretations upon us. The stories we tell also influence our ethics and values. In their renowned work, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, Joseph Campbell illuminates the concept of the hero's journey, a narrative arc found in myths across cultures. This archetype connects us to the shared moral imperatives of bravery and transformation. We often draw courage from these narratives, shaping our responses to life's challenges. Yet when confronting the darker aspects of human history, those narratives that promote violence or division reveal how selectively we embrace stories to construct our moral frameworks. In times of personal upheaval or societal distress, narratives provide solace, a means to find meaning amidst chaos. They grant us the language to articulate our grief and resilience, allowing for emotional release. Consider Viktor Frankl, whose experiences in concentration camps led him to argue that meaning can be found even in suffering. His narrative holds powerful implications. Our stories not only shape our identity, but also guide us toward redemption. As we weave our lives through the intricate designs of stories, we are left with an open question. How do we choose the narratives we embrace? Are they authentic reflections of who we are, or are they influenced by the cultures we inhabit? The journey is one of exploration, inviting us to reflect on how we engage with the narratives of ourselves and others. Perhaps the promise of storytelling is not in finding definitive answers, but rather in fostering conversations that prompt us to delve deeper into the human experience, connecting us one story at a time. The allure of mystery. Why are we drawn to the unknown? Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, dark forest. The trees stretch endlessly before you, their shadows dancing in the fleeting light of dusk. A gentle breeze whispers through the foliage, and you feel an inexplicable pull to venture deeper, even as a tiny voice in your mind reminds you of the dangers that may lie within. Why, in moments like this, do we find ourselves so captivated by what we cannot see or understand? The allure of mystery is a profound aspect of the human experience, woven into the fabric of our existence. Philosophers have long pondered why the unknown beckons us. Could it be rooted in our very nature, an innate curiosity compelling us to explore life's greatest questions? Plato, in his allegory of the cave, illustrated how humans are often confined to mere shadows of reality, hinting that true enlightenment lies beyond our immediate perceptions, a journey into the unknown that requires courage and contemplation. Contrastingly, existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus suggest that the discomfort of uncertainty can lead to despair. In a world devoid of absolute meaning, the unknown can feel threatening, causing us to cling to the safety of established norms and beliefs. Yet, even in that despair, they find a raw beauty, the freedom to create our own meaning amidst the chaos. Perhaps it is this very tension between fear and fascination that draws us toward life's mysteries. In our modern lives filled with science and innovation, we encounter the unknown in various forms, from the riddles of the universe as explored by physicists uncovering the nature of dark matter, to the complexities of the human mind, analyzed by psychologists. We are constantly battling our desire for answers with the knowledge that some questions may remain forever unanswered. The allure of the unknown, therefore, becomes not merely a philosophical exercise, but a tangible part of everyday life, a thread that weaves our existence together. This dance with mystery is not limited to grand metaphysical questions. Think of the thrill of a suspenseful novel, or the way a musician can evoke deep emotions through an unfinished melody. In these experiences, we find beauty not in the answers, but in the questions they pose, echoing the sentiments of the poet Rainer Maria Rilke, who famously said, "Be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves." As we navigate the uncertain paths of existence, through relationships, art, or even our own inner selves, mystery acts as both a catalyst for exploration and a source of comfort. It reminds us of our limitations while inviting us to expand our understanding. Yet the paradox persists. Does our pursuit of knowledge strip the world of its magic, or does it enhance our appreciation for the intricate dance of the unknown? So as you reflect on your own experiences with mystery, consider, is the allure of the unknown a source of anxiety, a spark of curiosity, or perhaps both? The journey into the depths of what we do not know can often be more illuminating than the answers we seek. Perhaps we are drawn to the unknown not merely to confront our fears, but to embrace the beautiful intricacies of life itself. Whether we find solace in contemplation, creativity, or connection, the adventure with the unknown invites us to continue questioning, exploring, and ultimately discovering together in this wondrous, mysterious world.